What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
2 Ob. Chapter 26. About to start a new life, giving Edward's last name. Advertise here. The banquet is over. Exactly. Drank too much. Newgate is a heroic person. He really drank heavily, and he didn't know if he was too happy. As a result, it became a wine competition with everyone present. Joke. What is Newgate's strength? According to his strength, he competed with the people present for drinking. Good guy. There are hundreds of thousands of people present. It was so abrupt that Newgate drank nearly 40,000 people. In the end, the rest of the people fell down one by one, and they were completely high. Locke was calm about it. Small issue. Small issue. It's not a big deal either. Really are. Locke looked at the drunk guys, and said helplessly, drinking is a pleasure, but you guys are drinking to death, are you still happy? My brain hurts. Locke didn't bother to pay attention to these guys, went back to sleep, took Geruruman back, and left Mechanical Greymon here. Joke. If the Mechanical Tyrannosaurus is not left here, if there is any problem, it will be taken directly. Don't underestimate the Mechanical Greymon. Even though Locke's Mechanical Greymon is definitely not as good as the lower body of the God of War Greymon with the same bug. But that's not weak either. With the trident arm made of Toki Digizoid, it's at least a solid Vice Admiral level of strength, and the Giga Destruction Cannon and Giga Storm of the Nirvana, it's definitely possible a one-hit move comparable to an Admiral Class 1. So, there is no problem in letting Mechanical Greymon watch here. Everything gradually came to an end. Under the night, everyone began to have a good rest. Except for a certain person, he recently used his data ability to make a certain famous soul game, and he is crazy about it. Resisting the idea of modifying the game with data, looking at the words, vegetable, and death, again and again, I have an urge to kill. Second day. The entire Sphinx began to get busy in full swing. Under the command of the ship Spirit, a lot of work began to move extremely quickly. After all, in the past 7 months, the ship Spirit did not eat here every day. With the shipbuilder, designer, and various staff, it was 7 days of surveying the entire Sphinx. 7 or 8. In addition, everyone's ideas have already been collected. The blueprints had already been produced 5 months ago, and during these 5 months, all the geographical locations of the entire Sphinx were determined, where to start and where to start. No, just started. The efficiency is extremely efficient, the high efficiency is simply shocking. What to do, how to do it, and even the planning to the time are all perfectly planned. Because of this, if there is a problem, that is the strangest thing. In the evening, Locke looked at the hill in the center of the Sphinx that divides the island into 2 halves. A super huge deep pit has been dug out. Hi. Uncle. Beasta ran over at this time. While washing his face, Locke asked, what's the matter? Beasta said obediently, Father said that he hopes to preserve the corpses of Grandpa, Grandma, Second Master, and Second Mistress, and rebury them after the Sphinx is remodeled. Quote. Hear. Locke was also a little silent, and finally nodded quietly. I see, I'll take care of this matter, let my brother bring the coffin over. Okay. Vista immediately ran away obediently. And Locke also looked at the hillside quietly and shook his head silently. Soon, Newgate carried 4 super huge coffins up by himself. Just from the appearance, these 4 coffins are all top of the line. Even if you have money, you may not be able to buy them. They are definitely snatched. Of. Quote. The 2 brothers looked at each other. There was no nonsense, they just quietly dug up the grave, lifted the corroded corpse and put it into the coffin. Subsequently, just take it away and save it, seal it up. Snapped. Newgate carefully placed the 4 coffins in the room he had prepared earlier, lit a cigar, and handed a cigarette to Locke. Although Locke usually doesn't smoke at all, he still does, he just doesn't like it. The 2 brothers just swallowed the clouds quietly like this, and even didn't know how to speak some words. Dad, Mom, I am back. Newgate remained silent. He had been away from the Sphinx for 20 or 30 years. There was almost nothing left of his parents. He didn't even know what he should say. On the contrary, Locke said calmly, Brother, don't be so emotional here. We are fine now, which is the best reward for the old man. Let's go. Don't worry about that little guy, Vista. And Locke suddenly thought of something, and said seriously, Brother, there is something. You have to deal with it. What? Newgate seldom sees his brother's expression like this, and it has always been like this. Although Locke is lazy, he looks like a rotten, salty fish, but Newgate knew that his little brother just didn't like these things, but liked everyday life. But my brother's considerations in many aspects are very accurate, and there will never be any problems. Locke rubbed his eyebrows, walked out of the room, flicked the cigarette butt away, watched the cigarette butt fall into the seawater in a perfect arc, and said softly, Brother. Your adopted son, everyone, it's all about giving Edward the surname. Chapter 27. Sphinx on fire, splitting headache naval headquarters. Advertise here. What? Why? Newgate was taken aback for a moment, not quite understanding what his brother meant. Brother. Locke walked to the shore step by step, sat down on the shore, and leaned on the Geruruman lying behind him. Don't say it. Gabuman's fur is pretty good, and Geruruman is even better. And Newgate also came over and sat down cross-legged. Locke explained. Vista is a good boy, but what about the future? As our Whitebeard pirate group gets bigger and bigger, maybe there will be more and more people under him. By that time, there will be more and more people with ideas. Some people, maybe it's just to live better. Or, some people join the Whitebeard pirates out of ambition. Newgate nodded. He doesn't doubt that the Whitebeard pirates will become stronger in the future, just kidding. As far as his own strength is concerned, although my brother is always fishing for fish, his abilities and brains in all aspects, plus the ability to summon Digimon. This proves it. The strength of the Whitebeard pirates. Future. What Locke says is bound to happen. Locke continued. It is absolutely unavoidable for such a situation to happen, so the best way is to give them the surname of Edward. Since they are all orphans, then they will become members of the Edward family and inherit the surname of Edward. Isn't it a bad thing? I understand. Newgate nodded seriously. He understood exactly what it meant. Yoshiko. Son. The two are completely different concepts, and the adopted son is just like the relationship between Newgate and Marco, Vista and others in the original book. But, if he inherited the surname of Edward of Newgate, then, although there is no blood relationship, but that's the real father-son relationship. It is absolute, nothing to doubt. And, Locke looked at Newgate and couldn't help complaining. Brother, can you use your brain? Why do I think you are getting more and more stupid? La. Regarding his brother's complaints, Newgate stood up indifferently, and said carelessly, isn't there Locke for you? Lousy is fine, why use his brain? No problem. The meaning of lousy who will join the Whitebeard pirates in the future son, lousy will drink sun wine with them, and then have Edward's surname. Locke nodded too. This method, although it is not possible to eliminate all problems. But, most of them are definitely not a problem. For this see, if you drink the foster son's wine, or even inherit the other party's surname, then you are the other party's son, and such a betrayal. That would despise the entire sea. On this sea, pirates are full of madness and betrayal, they are not good things at all. Only, these guys are also unusually persistent in some respects, and they are absolutely not allowed to appear. In general, the idea put forward by Locke can definitely solve most of the problems, and the follow-up is to get rid of the affiliated pirates. Locke would never allow the Whitebeard pirates to have so many affiliated pirates. Meaningless. Just a difference in name, then. What it brings is discord, which has many problems. Locke sighed silently, looked at the elder brother who was walking away, and said helplessly, really? I always feel that my elder brother doesn't like to use his brain more and more. Isn't this gradually degenerating into a fool? My fishing life. Beasta is not a character suitable for using brains, no. In the future, we have to study a character who is both wise and brave and suitable for using brains. Aptitude penultimate. People who are good at using their brains. Beckman. Cannot be done. Although I know that Beckman was born in North Blue, but this person is not easy to find, he is only 12 years old. Katakuri. That's the son of that crazy woman Linlin. Besides, Ember. A bell. Locke thought about it, and muttered interestingly, then. The best candidate is Jin. He's still called Bell, and he's still squatting in the prison ship. If I remember correctly, it should be in New World, right? Quote. It's not right either. The time is wrong. Headache. Locke also felt very headache, for someone who was committed to being a salted fish, after all. As an employee of 007 in his previous life, he had basically dedicated himself to the end, but the problem is. This is my home, if I am not serious, what should I do? The helpless Locke also stood up. Hurry up. After this period of time is over, I can continue to fish. Wait until the Whitebeard pirates continue to grow. Future. There are opportunities to fish by yourself. Again, Locke is not playing bad for the sake of being bad, and he will never relax when it is time to be busy. Overall, the entire Sphinx is in full swing. According to Chuan Ling, the transformation of the Sphinx will take about 2 years, 24 months, of course. If the efficiency is high enough, it can be completed in about a year and a half. To be honest, these cultists just don't mention it. For those workers, they can talk about everything when the money is in place. While Locke is busy studying some other things, Newgate is training hard with Beasta, at the same time. Under the coercion of my brother, who seemed to be in bad shape at home, but actually talked a lot, I found a lot of doctors to treat me, solve the hidden injuries of my body, and recuperate my body. And, just when everyone in the Sphinx was busy. The other side. Naval headquarters is different. In the past 7 months, with Newgate sweeping the world, Naval headquarters is now very busy. Chapter 28. Admiral leads the team. 7 Vice Admirals. Beyond the power of Buster Call. Advertise here. Naval headquarters. Marineford. Here. Known as the strongest force in the world, known as the overlord above the sea. Actually, this is also a matter of course. One handsome and 3 generals. This is the iconic configuration of each generation of Marine, 4 admirals. This kind of combat power, to be honest, is paired with the perfect middle-level power of green and yellow. That can hang up the 4 Emperor's pirates to fight. In the original book, during the Summit War, how powerful was Marine? Sengoku is the Marshal, Zephyr is the Marine Instructor, Garp is the Naval Headquarters Hero Vice Admiral, Sakazuki, Kuzan, and Pelusolino are the 3 admirals. These are the 6 apparent admiral-level combat power. Besides, Gion and Kaji are all at the level of alternate admiral, even if they are not real admiral, but. So at least it must be at the level of the Emperor's deputy. Or quasi-admiral. There is no doubt about this strength. This is a total of 8 admirals, plus a large number of naval headquarters vice admirals, 100,000 elite. If you count the miscellaneous things, you can bundle the 4 emperors together. So, Marine is the overlord of the sea. But, in this era, Marine is suffering from abnormal headaches. To be precise, during the past 7 months, their headaches are about to explode. During these 7 months, I don't know if Newgate is trying to make up the numbers. A total of 72 countries and 36 forces were attacked. These forces are black, white, and gray. People cannot ask Marine for help. But, what about 72 countries? But all of them are members of the world government. No kidding. These are all special products and special resources. If they can't become a franchise country, it's the most strange, they all have money. Don't look at what they asked for when they were robbed by Newgate, it was to preserve their strength. Now, that must be to let Marine find the place again. As for myself, joke. What do you Marines eat? Lousy. As a member country, is the protection fee of the heavenly gold every year for nothing? Get me back quickly. No. A total of 72 franchise countries have sent over their requests. Let alone Marine, even if it is world government, 5 elders cannot suppress it. Sengoku Admiral. Sengoku Admiral. Sengoku Admiral. Sitting in the office, Sengoku felt that he was going to be mentally haggard, it was really uncomfortable. This time, I'm just going to be crazy busy. After the Summit War ended, the original Marshal and the 2 admirals died in battle, Sora naturally became the new Marshal, Sengoku and Zephyr became the new Admiral, and Garp should have become the Admiral of Headquarters. But, Garp was really not interested in these things and chose to give up. Lousy was not interested. He didn't want to be a lackey of the Celestial Dragons. In the end, he was only the Naval Headquarters Hero Vice Admiral, and he still maintained the combat power of the 3 admirals. In general, there is no difference, just a difference in name. This matter is over. But Sengoku had just become admiral, not to mention showing off all of a sudden, but he was almost crushed to death by his busy work. He never dreamed that that Newgate guy would do such a crazy thing. What are these TMs? It's outrageous to go to Grandma's house. Sengoku. As soon as Zephyr walked in, he saw Sengoku raised his head, as if he had lost his life, and couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth slightly. Zephyr said softly, Sengoku, Mr. Sora let you go. I see. Along with this silent sigh, Sengoku also stood up. Soon, the 2 came to the office. Kong is also devastated during this period of time, there is no way. Such a loss, such a situation, will really cause problems. Kong raised his head and watched the 2 walk in, and said calmly, the request of the world government, let us send troops to destroy the Whitebeard pirates. Sengoku, Zephyr, what do you think? As for Garp, Valley of the Gods War. Garp and Luogia teamed up to defeat Locke in the end, you can say it was a leak, but Garp believes that Luogia will be the biggest threat, so he chases Luogia every day, wishing to kill Luogia directly. So, the admiral in naval headquarters is basically 2 people, and usually only 1 person acts. After all, the headquarters must at least have 1 admiral in charge. Sengoku frowned slightly, and said softly, Mr. Sora, it's very difficult to destroy the Whitebeard pirates. We don't have many forces to mobilize. With the demise of the Locke's pirates, without the suppression of this behemoth, there are many ambitious the guys here have already begun to have ideas, and the world has already begun to become chaotic. Just like what Sengoku said. When the Locke's pirates were around, although they were a terrifying behemoth. But, this behemoth makes all the ambitious guys keep silent, they know that they are not opponents at all. Now that the behemoth is down, what about the ambitious ones? Obviously. This is self-evident. Hearing this, Sora nodded, and calmly said, I will deploy the most force I can. Sengoku, there is no need to guarantee success, after all. The current new world is too chaotic. But, Kong shook his head as he spoke, there was no way, under such tremendous pressure, he had to send Admiral into the new world, and could Zephyr alone stabilize the chaotic world in the Grand Line? This is really hard to say. Sengoku nodded and said, I see, Mr. Sora. Don't worry. Sengoku knows that the most important thing is not success, even if it is the loss of Marine's prestige, he doesn't care, but absolutely can't have problems. Second day, Marine acted. Admiral led the team, 7 vice admirals, an elite marine of 10,000 people, and 10 rear admirals, a total of 10 top warships. This is a terrifying power that completely surpasses Buster Call. Chapter 29. Hit. Definitely can't beat it. Let's play a bit darker. Locke looked at the newspaper in his hand. Fell into silence. 10 marine top warships. Let me talk about this matter. As we all know, Marines' warships are built in the capital of Seven Waters, and the capital of Seven Waters is also known as Marines' shipyard. Among them, there are two types of warships. The first type is a popular warship, the price of which is about 100 million berries. The second type is the top warship that Vice Admiral is eligible to own. The price of this kind of ship is about 1 billion baileys. And, this time it was this top warship that was dispatched. 10 ships cost 1 billion baileys, and only Buster Call is the top warship that will be dispatched. They are matched with 10 rear admirals, 7 vice admirals, 10,000 elite marines and 1 admiral. Just this configuration. Buster Call has to turn. Brother, this is not a level of battle at all. If this is really a war, then I guess the current Whitebeard pirates were torn apart. Don't think too much about it. What a blast. What a heaven-defying. Impossible. It is not an opponent. Definitely not an opponent. This is not a horizontal battle, but anyone who has a little brain knows how huge the gap in strength is in the middle, because of this. This huge gap in strength is beyond doubt. Locke. Newgate looked at Locke holding the newspaper, walked over quickly, clenched Kong Yunchi in his hand, and said with sharp eyes, "Get ready. The war is about to begin." Quote ? Locke put down the newspaper, sat up, raised his head, and looked at his brother with a look of foolish eyes. Quote. What's wrong? Seeing Locke's silent expression, Newgate fell into a daze, as if he didn't understand what it meant. After a short silence, Locke said softly, Brother, are you an idiot? Do you have a brain? I don't want to talk about you. Can you grow your brain? You take everyone's life, are you going to work hard? Quote ? Newgate was even more confused at this moment. And Locke sighed silently. Brother, sit down, think about it. Marines configuration this time, are we opponents? Prepare for war. Are you going to let everyone die? No, including you, sending you to death. I know your character too well, and if there is a problem with your family, you will never run away. Good guy. I'm not sure if I want to succeed in this expedition. You are going to send it to them, so that they must succeed. Brother, use your brain. In this sea, strength is very important, but we can't just deliver food to people without using our brains. Locke really didn't know what to say. Did you understand the concept? 1 admiral, 7 vice admirals, 10 rear admirals, 10,000 elite marines, and 10 top warships. Take a look at this gorgeous configuration. Looking at yourself. Except for yourself, your own strength is probably equivalent to a vice admiral. Mecha Greymon is a vice admiral. Geru Rumen is a rear admiral. What about Vista? That is a cute little guy. The hands are poor and white. Don't even talk about people. You don't even have a boat. Are you going to war with them directly? Are you crazy? Are you crazy or am I crazy? Locke doesn't know what to say. Isn't that obviously a problem? Let the donkey kick your brain, right? Wrong. Have you been dismissed by the Elephant Lord like Jack? Listening to my brother's complaints. Newgate couldn't help scratching his head, and nodded seriously. Indeed. This time, I was too careless. Locke nodded, although helpless. In general, it is still good, although my brother is a bit naive, but that's really listening to people's advice. As long as you listen to people's advice, it's a good thing. Whether it's the teaching of Bista, the healing of one's own body, or the current war. In general, as long as you listen to people's advice and eat enough, isn't that all right? Locke, how do you deal with it? Newgate thought for a while. For him, facing the front is definitely the most suitable. Locke looked at his brother. Sure enough. He is really a fool. No wonder, in the original book, it is so easy to be stabbed by a filial son. Beat. This is definitely unbeatable. There is no need to doubt this at all. Locke rubbed his chin, and thought about it. If this is the case, then the best way is to play a little tricky. Normally, Marines should not know the location of the Sphinx, but the shipping company. Will it leak out there? Regarding this point, Newgate waved his hand and said bluntly, impossible. The shipping company has existed on this sea for 600 years, and it has relied on its reputation for so many years. If he gives up by himself, if you lose your reputation, then everything is not worth mentioning. Locke nodded at this, squinting his eyes and thinking in his heart, if this is the case, then as long as the Sphinx is not exposed, everything is much simpler. Sphinx Island. The island. It used to be quite famous, but today, this island has gradually begun to leave the public's field of vision. In fact, when you think about it, this is quite normal. Sphinx. The island is getting smaller and smaller, coupled with its remote location, basically. No one will come here to see the Whitebeard pirates. Except for a very few people, most of them don't know that the island of Sphinx is the hometown of Newgate, but they are hungry. So, only the shipping company does not leak, then. Locke has N+1 methods. He dare not say how strong his schemes are, and he dare not say how good his tactics are. But, I can't stand how much I know in New World. And, with the power of the world tree that I have, I can do more. Chapter 30. Take the initiative. Going up to risk your life. Sengoku. Are you King crazy? Advertise here. Locke. Are you sure it's okay? Newgate stood at the bow, always feeling that something was wrong. Locke waved his hand and said with a smile, Brother, don't worry, I have prepared everything that should be prepared and there will be absolutely no problem. Quote. All right, Newgate said, then listen to you. After all, as a real brother, my younger brother will not sell himself, right? Newgate drove the pirate ship, turned around and went straight to the distance at an extremely fast speed, and the target was the marine led by Sengoku. For others, it is of course almost impossible to determine the marine's route. But, this is extremely easy for Locke, and the reason is very simple. Through his own data, Locke can naturally find the location of the phone bug carried by Marine directly. Marine can spy on other people's phone bugs, you think Locke can't do that? This is just like a joke, Locke can not only do it, but can even be directly targeted. Uncle, Beasta thought about it, is this really all right? Father, Beasta was more worried, Dad went out alone to make trouble, wouldn't this really happen? Locke waved his hand calmly and said, Beasta, don't worry, brother will not have any problems, everything is ready. I am very confident, not to say how advanced the plan I prepared is. Even say, the thing I prepared by myself is a very low-level thing. But the problem is, can't stand it. Preparing this thing by yourself is a very outrageous thing. This thing is like this. Conspiracies and tricks are certainly scary, but open and above-board schemes are the most hopeless. It was the most hopeless thing, and what Locke had prepared for Sengoku was the most disgusting thing. Brother, it's up to you. Locke smiled and looked into the distance. In the face of this attack, Locke did not choose to hide, on the contrary, Locke chose to take the initiative. Of course, if you don't take the initiative to attack, just kidding, what are you doing with your own strength? Deliver food to people. Of course, he let his elder brother take the initiative. Normally, everything is ready. It shouldn't be a problem. Only, Locke is also thinking about possible changes in his heart, but the problem is that this information, except for himself, no one else knows at all, after all. I also overheard the gathering of those three guys all of a sudden. It is also a coincidence. Those three guys got together to take on the Whitebeard pirates, and it turned out. I just researched and understood how to spy on phone bugs through my own abilities. Result, he just heard the news, and he had some bold ideas. But I have to come and try it out, and I have to give it a good try. This plan is taking shape. New World. Sengoku galloped on the sea with Marine, thinking secretly in his heart. The members of the Whitebeard pirates have not appeared for a while, and Whitebeard himself has disappeared for a long time. Sengoku squinted his eyes and seemed to be thinking about something, he was wondering where the Whitebeard pirates were. No idea. If Marine wanted to find someone in Four Seas and Grand Line, it would be too easy. Can't stand it anymore, this is New World. Here you want to find someone. That's not an easy task. After all, New World is not your territory. It is an extremely chaotic place. In such a chaotic place, there is no way for Sengoku to search for it with great fanfare. Normally, pirates will not take the initiative to attack Marine, which is normal, but this absolutely does not include New World. If such a situation occurs in New World, then the result is different. The structure of New World is very chaotic, these pirates are like crazy ones, who knows what outrageous things these guys will do. Therefore, Sengoku is also looking for where the Whitebeard pirates are. Just like what Sengoku said, the coming of his war, in fact, is more about going through a process. Joke. Really rush in New World. The strength on my side must be stronger, but Newgate's shock fruit is reputed to have the power to destroy the world. With such power, who knows what might happen next? Sengoku is pondering the general information he has on where to find the Whitebeard pirates. Just at this time, Sengoku found a pirate ship running straight towards him. The most important thing is that pirate flag is none other than the Whitebeard pirates. Compared to the original, the pirate flag of the Whitebeard pirates remains largely unchanged, except that a diamond-shaped crystal has been added at the core, which represents the situation of the world tree in Locke's identity. That is, F*K. This guy, is he crazy? This was Sengoku's first reaction. He never expected that Newgate would dare to come to his door. Joke. If you hide and hide, to put it bluntly, and honestly toss about it for a month or two, this matter will be considered as over. But, how to say, Locke went off track. Sengoku went off track. Result. The whole thing, as the two people's thinking went astray, the whole thing became completely different. MD. Is this guy going to work hard? Are you King crazy? This is Sengoku's second reaction. Chapter 31. Newgate vs Sengoku. Watch Commanders Locke remotely. Advertise here. Empty shock. Sequake. Gu la la la. Newgate clenched his fists with both hands, and accompanied by the familiar laughter, he bowed left and right, and smashed his fists hard. Wave. Wave. The sea and sky exploded in an instant. Between Setsuna, the sky turned into cracks, and on the other side, the entire sea began to churn, turning into monstrous waves that would swallow up everyone in Sengoku. Gu la la la. Newgate continued to laugh wildly. Sengoku. We meet again. You guy, you really brought a lot of gifts to deal with lousy. Madman. Sengoku was so angry that the roots of his teeth were itchy, and he had originally planned to go through a process. Just like Garp and Luogia. You chase me. Go through a process. In a month or two, this matter is over. The results of it. How dare you play this trick with lousy, and go all out when you meet? Are you crazy? Actually, this is the difference between Locke and Sengoku. Sengoku is here to follow the process, but the problem is. Locke's idea is very simple. You bring so many people into New World, follow me the process. Stop being funny. You must be looking for trouble. That's fine. Then I will arrange it for you directly. So, if you say that the two people's ideas are wrong, right? There is really nothing wrong with that. But what if you say there is nothing wrong? But, obviously, the current situation is definitely more or less outrageous, and this is absolutely beyond doubt. All in all, the current situation has progressed to this point, and it is not possible for anyone to retreat if they want to, or if they can. You bastard. Sengoku was so angry that the roots of his teeth were itchy, but there was nothing he could do. Newgate, this guy, just looks like lousy is going to fight with you today. Killing one is enough, and killing two is enough to make money. So, in this case, what can Sengoku do? You can only follow Newgate's situation to start a war, otherwise, there is nothing you can do. Buddha shock. Dazzling golden light bloomed from Sengoku's body, and the next moment, a bright shock wave pierced through it instantly, as if it wanted to destroy everyone directly. The golden shock wave exploded in an instant, directly shattering the surrounding sea water, and at the same time, Sengoku slapped down again, blocking Newgate's attack. Unable to stand this moment, Newgate stepped on the air with one foot after another, heading straight for Sengoku. Should say. For the top powerhouses, overcoming sea water is actually a very normal operation, whether it is the flight developed by Doflamingo, even the 4-speed flight developed by Luffy, and Shiki's lion fruit, which itself can fly. The thundercloud made by Linlin, Kaido can fly, Kuzan freezes the sea. All in all, for top powerhouses, they all have to overcome the sea through their own fruit abilities. After all, for such top powerhouses, seawater is still a weakness, but it must not become a huge trouble. Otherwise, I am sorry for their strength. And what Newgate did was very simple, purely to develop his fruit ability. Through one's own fruit ability, shocks are generated, just like stepping on the ground, like walking on flat ground. Kong Yunchi air shock slash. Newgate's eyes widened. From top to bottom, Kong Yunchi, as one of the 12 supreme swordsmen, is attached to armament haki, covered with the power of shock fruit, and even entwined with Conqueror's haki. This terrifying blow has been smashed down. Whitebeard. Sengoku let out a roar that was as angry as ultimate. He also raised his palm and directly met Newgate's knife. The same is attached to the armament haki, a different golden palm glows, and the same is wrapped around the Conqueror's haki. Wave. The battle between the two broke out completely. The other side. Sphinx. Locke looked at the battle in front of him through the big screen in his hand, this super big screen, rubbing his chin, thinking, brother and Sengoku's strength, is it even possible to win or lose? But, if you think about it for a while, it's almost the same. At this age, how could there be any difference in strength between them? Not to mention, Sengoku is the admiral of Conqueror's haki, one of the very few owners in Marine, no. Except for Sengoku, it seems that I have never heard of it. Conqueror's haki. To be able to own it, you need to have a haki that surpasses millions of people. And Sengoku has such a haki. Therefore, justice for the owner of Sengoku to rule the world. And, Sengoku is also being trained as the next Marine Marshal, but no matter what, the current situation is that the strength of my brother and Sengoku is basically the same, shock fruit and Buddha fruit. A top Paramesha Devil Fruit. A top-level Phantom Beast Devil Fruit. Paired with two penultimate qualifications, possessing terrifying power, and awakening the strong man entangled by conquerors at the same time, this battle has become more and more terrifying. Locke watched the battle, picked up a walkie-talkie directly from the side table, and said softly, brother, be a little more careful, don't really fight Sengoku, it's meaningless, what we have to do just complete our protection. During the battle, Newgate continued to move his body as he should, but he nodded unobtrusively. Indeed, they have a complete plan, and they don't need to work hard in person, so look carefully. You will find that in Newgate's ear, there is a very small earphone. If you don't look carefully, you can't see it at all. Obviously, Alan watched and directed the whole plan remotely. Chapter 32. Akoku, John, Silver Axe, the anti-Whitebeard trio. Damn it, was it broken? Advertise here. The fierce battle is still going on. And, it is no longer a simple battle, but a real fire. Newgate's knife directly shattered a warship of Sengoku, and the thousands of marines and warships on it were basically destroyed and killed. This moment, maybe something really happened. Sengoku's anger was burning uncontrollably. Only, as the battle became more and more fierce, at this moment, Newgate suddenly soared into the sky. Roar. With the deafening roar, the figure of the mechanical Greymon rushed out from the sky, and Newgate also directly grabbed the mechanical Greymon. Gigabyte Destruction Cannon. Gigabit Storm. Without any hesitation, the mechanical Tyrannosaurus made a move as if it was a lure, and the two ultimate moves directly smashed down fiercely. Boom. Boom. Sengoku didn't even have time to react, another warship was destroyed directly, and Sengoku was also stopped at this moment, and the mechanical Tyrannosaurus raised Newgate into the sky, and went straight to the distance go, only a black dot can be seen vaguely. Quote. All this happened so fast that it was too late for people to react. This moment, Sengoku fell into a kind of silence, he silently looked at everything in the sky, and said in a low voice, "Chasing. Chase me." Yes, casualties. Actually, it wasn't big at all. For elite marines like them, they had already rushed directly into the seawater at the moment of danger. Of course, the damage was not serious, just the two warships were destroyed, the loss is already huge. Under the leadership of Sengoku, the 8 warships headed straight for the distance at an extremely terrifying speed. This matter. Joke. How could Sengoku be so resigned? It's almost like a joke. He. Locke looked at the situation in front of him with a smile, a very rich smile, and said softly, "It's pretty good, everything is in the plan, and from now on, just move forward step by step." But it always feels weird. Locke rubbed his chin and muttered strangely, "I always feel that Sengoku's situation is very strange, is there something I did wrong?" Never mind. No matter what it is, this war is already the best result. After all, Marine dispatched such a large force, I have nothing to do. Locke felt very calm, such a result is already considered very good. After all, it is impossible for you to tell me that Marine dispatched so much force, is it just to watch the fun and play? Just come for paddling and walk around. That was just like a joke. Joint reporting by 72 countries. World government pressure. Pressure on the 5 elders. How dare Marine do this? Is it really crazy? Only. What Locke doesn't know is that his very bold idea is infinitely close to the truth, because the Marine is too busy now, but if there is any possibility, he will not come to New World to make trouble. Sengoku naturally didn't want to do this, but I also know which is more important. The pattern of the New World doesn't matter at all. This is the pirates' private land, the most chaotic area, it is unrealistic for you to get rid of New World. And the more important thing is to deal with the problems of 4 Seas and Grand Line, the result. It can only be said that this is the fact. Sometimes, both parties feel that there is a small problem, and the result is off track. Sengoku didn't expect that the opponent would take the initiative to attack. Locke didn't expect that the other party was actually acting. This, I can only say, everyone thinks they are good, but together, there are some huge problems, which is just embarrassing. Next, Locke squinted, thinking about something. Just waiting for the next result. As long as it succeeds, it will kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and can solve 2 troubles in one go. In the next 3 to 5 years, if there is no accident, they should come to the door without any trouble. Island. This island doesn't have any name, it's just an island that was abandoned because it didn't have any supplies. There are a lot of such islands above the sea. Only. This moment, on this island, there are 3 pirate groups gathered. The 5 Peaks Pirates, Captain Akoku. Silver Axe Pirates, Captain Silver Axe. John Pirates, Captain John. These 3 people, both were once one of the cadres of the Locke's pirates. Now, the 3 of them gathered together for the simple purpose of forming an alliance against the Whitebeard pirates. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Joke. The treasure of the Valley of the Gods obviously belonged to them, but that treasure was snatched by Newgate. They can't accept it at all. Especially Silver Axe, who was beaten by Newgate, even the grave of the ship, lost the permanent pointer to build a pirate ship, and the result. His other treasures were also thrown away. Not to mention, Silver Axe was directly cut off by Baloric, which made Silver Axe's anger even more terrifying. He ran around to contact Akoku and John, and the 3 gathered together like this. After all, the other 2 people were also very upset, the same sentence. Why, everyone was a cadre at the time, but in the end you were snatched away. As for why this sentence was not said on the battlefield at that time. It is not today, it is not within the scope of the current discussion. John's ears moved slightly, the sound of waves passing by, and his eyes sharply said instantly, "Have we been discovered?" After all, when they met secretly, their first reaction was, "Damn it. Are we busted?" Akoku's eyes were full of coldness, he brushed his mustache, and said, "Do it. Since you have been discovered, then don't show mercy. No matter who, if you dare to approach this place, you will die if you find out." All 3 nodded with cold eyes. Chapter 33. The dog's brain almost popped out. Is it important to misunderstand? Search. Search. The artillery fire exploded instantly. The pirate group of the three teamed up and fired in unison. These three people are so nervous. In fact, it is also normal. After all, if the three of them are careless, something will really happen. Joke. If this news gets out, the whole world will know about it, and Marine will target them, and according to Newgate's personality, when the time comes, he will probably come to him on his own initiative, which would be embarrassing. So, this matter really cannot be ignored. Them. It's no surprise that anyone will be shot. Only. Finished. No. My observation hockey saw it, it's just this breath, so familiar. Quote. Talking and talking. All three fell into silence. Looking at the warship rushing out of the smoke, the three of them were filled with disbelief. Another ship. At this moment, Sengoku's teeth were itching with anger, and his breath was very scary. It is good. It is good. Again is not it. TMs. Do you really think Lousy is easy to bully? Lousy originally planned to watch the excitement, but it turned out. You guys, how dare you trouble Lousy one by one? Okay. Today, Lousy wants to see what your strength is, come on. Today, let Lousy see what your strength is. 5 Peaks Pirates. Silver Axe Pirates. John Pirates. Attack. Yes. With Sengoku's almost gritted teeth giving the order, instant. The entire battlefield has become different. The battle has begun in an instant, and the result that follows is not as simple as it seems. After all, anyone who is not a fool can see it, and now the two sides are really fighting. Everything else is not important anymore. Good. Sengoku's strength is really strong. With 1 against 2, 1 against 3, he was able to persist for such a long time. But, Akoku, John, Silver Axe, the strength of the three cannot be underestimated. If these three people join forces, it will be very troublesome if they really target us. Locke was thinking about this in his mind, leaning on the sofa, even though he said so, with beer and snacks in hand, looking like he was watching the World Cup. That look makes people feel very leisurely. Actually, this is much more exciting than any anime. Let's see how amazing this real battle is. In the sky, with the flapping of its wings, the mechanical Tyrannosaurus brought Newgate back. Have to say, the mechanical Tyrannosaurus, which is almost 10 meters tall, has the feeling of Newgate, but looking at myself, it is only more than 1 meter tall, so everything is suitable. For the height of people in this world, Locke finds it outrageous anyway, and finds it very strange no matter how you look at it. This height ratio. What if you say no problem? Anyway. Locke is unacceptable. Locke, brother. The two brothers greeted each other and sat down on the sofa. Newgate also watched the battle on the big screen. Gu la la la. Newgate smiled while drinking. It's really good. Don't say it. Sengoku's strength seems to be a step further. However, compared to Sengoku, the three of Akoku, John, and Silver Axe guy, it just looks a lot weaker. Especially this guy, Silver Axe, who lost his arm, and his strength is obviously reduced. Hearing Newgate's evaluation, Locke was very calm, just quietly watching everything in front of him. It is undeniable that it is just like what my brother said. When they were in the Locke's pirates, they were all in their teens, 20s, or even their 30s, actually. The gap in strength is not particularly obvious, and there must be a gap in strength between them. But this gap has not widened, but now it is different. After leaving the Locke's pirates, the degree of fighting is different, and the gap between the two sides has gradually widened. Newgate, Luogia, Shiki, Sengoku, Garp. These people are basically on the same level. And, Akoku, John, Silver Axe, these three guys, their strength has begun to be gradually suppressed, or it is purely suppressed, and as time goes by, the gap has gradually appeared, which is not surprising. After all, there is a gap between them, but as time goes by, this gap gradually explodes. Vista looked at the battle on the big screen, and said curiously, Uncle, don't you think they won't understand what's going on? He. Locke chuckled and said, actually, it doesn't matter if you understand it or not. The dog's brain is about to come out. For both parties, this enmity is the next one. We are only responsible. Moreover, Brother and the mechanical Tyrannosaurus made a move just now, but they didn't cause many casualties, they just destroyed 2 warships. Now, the damage caused by the cooperation of the 3 parties is very huge. This time, the 3 parties will definitely be able to defeat Sengoku. The hatred is over. For both parties, the process and the reason are not important. Locke was smiling. Only, in the eyes of Newgate, Vista and his son, this smile just feels eerie. My younger brother, Uncle, is really too scary. That's great. No matter what role the Whitebeard pirates played in it, but after all, I did not cause casualties, can you two still join forces? That is absolutely impossible. Naturally, even if this battle is over this time, it will only intensify. Chapter 34. The war ends. The man behind everything. Advertise here. What? It's almost there. Locke stretched his waist comfortably, making crackling sounds all over his body. Subsequently, lazily, he slumped on the sofa and watched the war that had gradually come to an end on the big screen. Finally, the war ended with almost a draw. There is no way. The war was fought, and Garp came to support halfway through the war. Result, with the duo of Sengoku and Garp teaming up. But still the same sentence, the combination of two people must be very strong, plus a large number of marine elites, but it can't stand the combination of three people here, and there are also three pirate groups here, but they are all powerful pirate groups across the sea. The final result is that it's over in half a caddy. All in all, the result of this war is actually predictable, and this is not a strange thing. Locke didn't have any surprises about this. Basically, this result was already doomed. Gu la la la. It's really good. Newgate also showed a heroic laugh, feeling very happy, really comfortable. This kind of trouble has been resolved in this way, so I must be happy. Locke said casually. That's why. Brother, use your brain a lot, don't just think about fighting others, even though we are pirates, there is nothing wrong with fighting people. But there's no need to work hard, that's why it's not necessary. Locke has a lazy and comfortable face. No kidding. A problem that can be solved without doing anything, is that still a problem? Obviously. For this question, what other people think, Locke is not very clear, anyway. I have a complete idea. This is not it. Do as little as possible if you can. Okay. Locke stood up and said lazily. Brother, this matter is settled, I'm going back to sleep, it really is. The result is already doomed early in the morning, you insist on pulling me to see the result, do you know that staying up late is very important for you? Are you in poor health? Quote. Listening to Locke's complaints, Newgate seemed to have learned Locke's movements. A skilled little bear spread his hands, tilted his head, and his face was full of question marks. Are you kidding lousy? Do you know when you usually go to sleep? You are a player who stays up all night. Are you kidding me? But Locke didn't know what his brother was thinking, went back to sleep, slept, just kidding. I haven't cleared the game yet, and I haven't passed the lowest difficulty level yet, so go back to sleep quickly, wake up, and I still have to work hard. I don't believe it myself, so I can't pass the level. What is it called? He cooks and loves to play. Locke is really good at playing games. The war came to an end. Akoku, John, and Silver Axe all retreated at the same time. And Sengoku and Garp did not pursue the game without being able to determine the victory. Sengoku remained calm and asked, how about the casualties? Mr. Sengoku, the casualties are not that big, the overall casualties are only more than 300 people. Only. A total of 3 warships were destroyed. Vice Admiral reported, but also felt a very headache, the damage to the personnel is honestly not that big. There are only more than 300 people. Obviously. Although the two sides fought fiercely. But on one side is the elite of naval headquarters. One side is the former crew of the Locke's pirates. In terms of elite level, in fact, it is basically the same level. Naturally. Then there's not much damage. Sengoku also nodded seriously. Garp said strangely. Sengoku, you guy, what's going on? Why are you fighting with these 3 guys? Sengoku shook his head and said, the 3 of them took the initiative. If there is no accident, these 3 people should have some ideas and form an alliance, but they were knocked down by me, and they launched an attack without hesitation. What? These 3 form an alliance? Garp was taken aback, these 3 guys actually formed an alliance. Thinking of this, Garp also said with sharp eyes, if these 3 guys really form an alliance, it will be very difficult to deal with. Sengoku shook his head and said, it's not a big problem, it's just. The person behind this incident is the most difficult to deal with. What? The man behind? Garp was taken aback for a moment, then shook his head and said, that's impossible. Didn't you come here after chasing that guy Whitebeard? Sengoku said calmly, what if Whitebeard did it on purpose? Quote. Garp calmed down a bit, then shook his head without hesitation and said, I think this possibility is almost impossible. According to Whitebeard's character, it is almost impossible to do such a thing. And the most important thing is that this matter seems to be unnecessary for Whitebeard. The entire Whitebeard pirate group is full of just a few people. If we want to hide, we are almost impossible to catch. Listening to Garp's words, Sengoku also nodded calmly. Have to say, although Locke is not good at any conspiracy. But what Locke did was the most appropriate. According to his brother's personality, if someone is looking for trouble, what is the first reaction? Joke. Of course, it's positive. How could it be possible to hide and hide? And what should I do if I can't beat it? Of course he chose to escape, or else desperately. Locke, Vista, Geruruman, these are all relatively weak, so it's okay for them to hide, right? It can be said. The overall analysis is no problem. It seems that everything is such a coincidence. But the problem is. Sengoku always felt that something was not right, it seemed. In the dark, there is a pair of hands manipulating all this. Chapter 35. 1 year. You are a foodie and love to play, you are right. Sengoku guessed right. Only, if Sengoku knows, the person who arranged all of this, and the sum of all of them, is actually a coincidence. Estimate. Right now Sengoku is about to bang his head against the wall. Good guy. Emotion. Everything is off track, right? All in all, basically, everything is here, and this is what everyone knows. This matter also gradually came to an end in this way, and it was meaningless to continue. And, as this matter comes to an end, the work of Sphinx is naturally very enthusiastic. Time. It will always pass by inadvertently. See Circle Calendar 1485. The end of the year. It has been a full year since that very weird war came to an end. Nearly 2 years have passed since the end of the Valley of the Gods War, and it will be 1486 soon. And, a full year has passed. It is no exaggeration that the Sphinx Island has undergone earth-shaking changes. But, these are nothing. What about the biggest change? That is, there are a lot of radish heads on the Sphinx. Each of them is waving various weapons, following the masters to practice hard. Practice boxing, practice legs, practice knives. Anyway, whatever weapon you like, Locke will find the most suitable master for you, and then teach you well. It is still very important to lay a good foundation. It's really not advisable for my elder brother to be born in such a wild way. Not everyone has the qualifications of his elder brother. Yi Luzi was born, but he grew up to such an extent as if he had gone berserk all the way. As for Locke, Locke says, this year, I had a really good time. With Kong Yunchi and money in hand, those novel authors and cartoonists obediently produced a lot of high-quality works for themselves. As for the works being bad, as for the bad quality. Locke said, then don't blame Lousy for being rude, you can take the money and leave if you work hard, but if you don't work hard, Lousy will take Kong Yunchi and chop off your head. Therefore, during this year, Locke has accumulated a lot of everything, whether it is anime, manga, novels or games, especially the design of the game is actually very simple. Although there is no such thing as a game in this world, there are talents that should be there. I found someone to design for myself, character illustrations, and then plot settings, hidden levels, and what mobs and bosses. All in all, as long as these are designed and done with your own ability, then a game cartridge was immediately produced. Of course, Locke doesn't participate in the design, he just takes charge of the game. Wouldn't it be boring if he knew everything? What? Worth to talk about. In this year, Locke has not made any progress above the level of the game. Basically, he is still at the level of dish and dead. However, if he plays a lot, he is also a Buddhist. Play slowly. If you succeed, and if you fail, it doesn't matter. F*K. MMP. Lousy doesn't believe it. Damn it. Locke held the handle, looked at the big screen in front of him, the enchanting and charming female game character stepped on his character, and his blood pressure really rose with anger. What? Locke is about to use his abilities to transform. After exhaling 2 long breaths, Locke said secretly, No, I'm playing a game, I'm just playing a game, calm down. Calm down. Still have to calm down. Locke kept himself calm, the whole person remained calm, don't make noise, just relax slowly. It's too annoying, that's really too annoying. MMs. Lousy is really mad. Locke put down the handle, feeling really angry that he was about to have a myocardial infarction. Lord Locke, Miss Nurse asked me to tell you, don't be angry all the time, otherwise, you will get so angry that you will have a myocardial infarction. The sword beast, which looks like a little swordsman, stood behind Locke and spoke obediently. Quote. Locke silently looked at the sword beast. He didn't summon any new royal knights in this year. Actually, it's just that the gestation time is getting longer and longer, unless you can supplement the data. Otherwise, the time of gestation will be longer and longer in the future. Sword beast, warrior beast, knight lord beast. The evolution method of Lord Nightmon, one of the royal knights. And, Locke has also researched and understood during this year that the experience of these Digimons at most is to brush up to the apex of the perfect body, that is, to the point where they are about to break through the ultimate body. But, want to break through. So, what is needed is the more important core, which is to give birth to the soul of the knight. I have inherited the authority of the Night King of the World Tree. Only the soul of the knight can make them evolve into one of the royal knights. Otherwise, then it can't evolve at all, and it doesn't make any sense. Therefore, Locke probably knows it too, because he can't replenish data in this world, and his daily consumption of playing games and creating animations is simply insignificant. In fact, the slow time for Digimon to conceive is because a large amount of data is used to conceive the soul of the knight. Even so, Locke made a little calculation, it would take a total of 3 years for the first knight's soul to be conceived successfully. Locke looked at the sword beast, waved his hand to show that he knew it, but was thinking secretly in his heart, how should I supplement the data? Or can I just kill time? Although I don't lack time. Chapter 36. The old brother who came back from the waves, the childhood Lacchio, subdue him. Advertise here. Never mind. I don't want to think so much. Continue. Continue. Lousy doesn't believe it. I can't pass the level today. Labor and management insist on pressing you to the ground and rubbing you. Locke thought about it, but he was too lazy to think so much, and didn't think so much. Count the time. Now it is the end of C Circle Calendar 1485, at most it is the beginning of C Circle Calendar 1487, and he can give birth to the first Night Soul. Not to mention, Night Lordman, like this, needs the soul of the Night to evolve. But, Mechanical Greymon evolves into Battle Greymon. Geruruman evolves into Steel Geruruman. This does not require the soul of the Night at all, the Omega Beast itself is the super ultimate Royal Knight after the complete body is reunited, otherwise. It's not that the strength is so amazing. Naturally, under such circumstances, the next pattern is completely different. Don't say anything else. The 2 Admiral-level Digimon under his command, plus the higher-level Royal Knight Ultimate like the Night Lordman, are equivalent to a stronger Admiral level. At that time, there are 4 Admirals in the Whitebeard Pirates, who is the opponent. Looking for trouble. Lousy cut you alive. Locke figured it out, so of course he wasn't bothered anymore. Only, Locke didn't see that a very mature and steady-looking nurse lady in pink nurse uniform, wrapped in white stockings and pink high heels, had already walked into the villa. She stood silently at Locke's door. Behind. Quote. Playing around. Locke saw the figure behind him through the light fed back from the big screen, and his face froze instantly. Ah, Locke turned his head and said awkwardly, that. Lilith, what the hell? I'm just playing games, I'm going to bed right away, I'm going to rest right away. Quote. Lilith smiled and said gently, Uncle, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, Are you going to rest and sleep right away? I'm going to sleep now. With the sound of chickens and eggs being beaten, Locke was forced to go to sleep. Lilith. She is 20 years old this year, and she is a former nurse. She comes from the magnetic drum country and used to be a family of doctors. Only, some things changed too fast. She experienced despair. 6 months ago, she was brought back by Newgate, her elder brother when he went out to wander. The half-dead Lilith was brought back. Became a righteous daughter. Locke's great niece. Just although Lilith is older than Locke in terms of age, but this is not the case. And, as a medical family, Lilith naturally became a doctor. Moreover, among the little carrot heads brought back by Newgate, about 30 little girls were selected, each of whom was taught and trained to become a nurse. That is, the group of pink nurses in the future, members of the first team of medical teams. Only, in the original book, they were put off the ship on the eve of the Summit War, and Lilith is the vice captain of the first team, second only to Marco. As for why Marco became the captain of the medical team, Locke said that it may be that Marco's talent is really too high. After all, he is a phoenix fruit-capable person, and there is absolutely no doubt in terms of healing. And, after Lilith joined the Whitebeard Pirates, she single-handedly formed a medical team. The iconic configuration is coiled hair, pink nurse uniform, white stockings, and pink high-heeled shoes. All in all, it looks very sexy, and Locke prefers black or white, but Lilith doesn't like it. Black represents death, and white. I am not a serious doctor. I don't have the morality of a doctor who treats everyone, so I am pink. Locke proposes neutralization. In general, Locke and his eldest niece are at odds, there is no way. My own life and rest are irregular, and my eldest niece is responsible for everyone's health, so she must be responsible for herself too. Really are. After forcing Uncle to sleep, Lilith walked out of the villa. Seeing the Sphinx, which has been transformed and is full of the perfect combination of cyberpunk and ancient architecture, a smile emerged. Lilith whispered softly, being able to come here is the best result in my life, everyone. They are all my family members, and I will never let my family members have any accidents. Lilith clenched her slender hands. Once her family members died, she was powerless, but now. I will never have such a thing happen again. Second day. Locke barely went to bed early. After all, he went to bed at 5 in the morning and woke up around 3 in the afternoon. Joke. As a rotten salted fish, isn't 10 hours of sleep a standard configuration? Minimum. It should even be 12 hours. Lord Locke. Sword Beast reported respectfully and sternly. Master Newgate is back. Brother is back. This guy has been out for a year, right? Really are. Locke shook his head. This guy has really been out wandering for a year. And, the ones who brought back the most were the little ones, just like the nursery school, sending back little carrot heads one by one, among which Lilith was the oldest, and the others were generally between 4 and 12 years old. There are men and women. Number of people. There are a total of 300 people, and there is not much difference between up and down. And this time back. Gu la la la. From far away, Locke just heard the familiar laughter of his brother, especially a little guy with a messy brown hair who was following him, especially the one who looked very much like Captain Jack. Locke just knew who the teenage-looking kid was. In the original work, Whitebeard Pirates 7th Division Captain. Rakyo. Infancy. Conquer. Chapter 37. Find the prison ship, so what are you waiting for? Go flush it. Uncle, Lacchio is also a little timid. Compared with the original book, it is much worse. In the original book, Lacchio is a rebellious and unrestrained person. Of course, those are all in the original book. The current Lacchio. It's nothing more than a brat if you're exhausted. A brat, what do you expect him to do? Isn't that just a joke? He he he. Looking at Lacchio, Locke also nodded with a chuckle, and said, "Luck you." Lacchio nodded obediently. Gu la la la. Newgate laughed and said, "Locke, lousy is back." Quote. Locke looked at Newgate and said silently, "Brother, it's normal for you to come back. In this year, you sent me back a total of 332 children, including Lacchio. You think these children are is it easy to handle?" Locke sighed silently. Joke. For a person who devotes every day to leisure, sloppy, and salty fish, the result is not bad. Your brother is making trouble for himself every day. And the most embarrassing thing is that if you don't deal with these things, you can't do it yourself. This is really the most troublesome thing. So, Locke can only deal with it helplessly. Of course. The problem is not difficult to deal with, plus the daily Sphinx affairs, it can be said that although Locke is being treated as a salted fish, but the real problem is actually his own brother. My elder brother goes out every day and is away from home for a whole year. Compared to me taking care of everything, he really treats him like a salted fish. After all, for people, some people's way of salting fish is to go out for a run or travel, while some people's way of salting fish is to stay at home. Gu la la la. Newgate laughed and said, well, Locke, don't say that. It's not a big deal. These little guys are more suitable for you to train, don't you think? Locke sighed silently, also shook his head and said, "Brother, I'm too lazy to say anything about you, forget it. Wait a moment to study the follow-up process of the Sphinx. The current Sphinx has been completed almost 50%, the subsequent 5 achievements will be much easier. Although it is only 50% completed. But the first 50% is the most important core. This is to transform the interior and the core, so that the entire Sphinx can truly sail like a ship and float on the sea. Otherwise, if you can't float or sail, even if you have a boat spirit driving it, it's not so easy, is it? As for the next 50%, that is so much easier. To be honest. The scientific and technological work is over, and the rest is technical work or some relatively minor work. It is still very easy to deal with these. Fine. Newgate waved his hand and said casually, "I will leave these matters to you." Lousy is very relieved. "Locke, I will leave it to you." Quote. F***K. Locke couldn't help but swear, and complained, "Brother, how did you take shamelessness for granted?" Never mind. Locke couldn't help waving his hands, shook his head silently and said, "I'm too lazy to say anything. By the way, this Sphinx hasn't been built yet. Why did you come back all of a sudden? According to your shouldn't that shameless character come back after the Sphinx is built?" What? This one? When Newgate mentioned this matter, he also laughed, and said with a smile, "Locke, Lousy found New World's prison ship, don't tell me. It's hidden quite deep. Lousy almost didn't find it." Locke raised his eyebrows. Prison ship. Listening to the conversation between my father and uncle, the little radish heads on the side are full of shock. What is this? But the difference is, they felt a sense of family affection, because this is family. If it is filled with that different feeling all the time, then everything is just different, isn't it? Locke rubbed his chin and thought, "Brother, is there only one prison ship in New World?" Newgate shook his head at this point and said, "Not sure. We really don't know about this matter. After all, we don't know exactly what the New World has." Locke nodded at that too. Indeed, the layout of New World is relatively complicated, and no one knows what is inside New World, or what. What the hell is this whole New World mess? After thinking for a while, Locke was still unwilling to give up this opportunity, and said with a smile, "Okay. Let's talk about the follow-up, let's go. Hurry up and see what the Sphinx is like." All right. Newgate also nodded. Although he was a little silly, he was not an idiot. He knew that some words were not suitable for these little guys to hear. Lacchio, Vista, and as the two left, Lacchio and Vista got together. Should say, the Whitebeard pirates. Actually, he should be the top pirate group, whether it is the 3 legendary pirate figures or the 4 emperors pirate group, they are really very strong, but in the original book, he was defeated by his own brother. There are 16 team captains and so many subordinate captains. Many of them are very penultimate. If they are trained well, what will their strength be in the future? No need to think about it. Locke and Newgate were walking on the road, and Locke said seriously, "Brother, you take the mechanical Tyrannosaurus and go to fetch the prison ship. If you can find the descendants of the Lunalia clan, it will be the last okay." The Lunaria family. Newgate was stunned. Do descendants of that race still exist? Locke nodded and said, "So, be serious and don't make any problems." Newgate also said seriously, "Locke, don't worry." Chapter 38. Talent. Always the most important thing in the family. Advertise here. Brother left. He left with the mechanical Tyrannosaurus. Ember. Wrong. Should be called Bell now. If Bell can be added to the Whitebeard pirates, this is a very important thing. Locke narrowed his eyes slightly, thinking a lot in his mind. Again, although I don't like to manage these things. But, when it's time to deal with it, I won't shirk it, because this is my home, and since it's my home, it's only natural for me to pay and make some contributions as a family member. And, Locke's thinking is different from everyone else's. Locke was very clear. To be frank, to overthrow the world government. Stop talking nonsense. I am already a vested interest, why overthrow the world government? It's like making a joke with TM. And, the path that the current Whitebeard pirates are taking is very important in itself. Whether it is becoming 4 emperors or establishing your own country in the future. In fact, it's all indifferent. After all, this is the norm. For example, West Blue's superpower, Flower Country, was once a country established by 2 super big pirate brothers. After 400 years of development, it has become the current superpower. This is a very normal thing. As for guys like Locke's, Luogia, Luffy, Teach. One by one, the D clan is used to doing things. Locke didn't object to these troublemakers, but he wasn't interested either, because it really had nothing to do with him. What do you mean? Of course, this has something to do with personal thoughts. Locke is a person who likes to live a leisurely life, while Newgate values his family most. For the two of them, even if they overthrow the world government and let the Whitebeard pirates reach the top of the world, is there any point for the 2 brothers to become gods like I am? My elder brother, the most important thing is family. But for me, the life of 007 in the previous life. This life. What I want more is a stable life, leisurely, happy, and relaxed. This is everything I want. What else? Everything else is not important to me. So, that's the most important thing. Some things are indeed good things. Only, it's not suitable for me. The Whitebeard pirates, the most suitable is to follow the path of the Edward family. Turn the Whitebeard pirates into the Edwards. This is also the fundamental reason why Locke wants to give everyone the surname Edward. As long as everyone is a member of Edward, without betrayal. So, I looked at the time of the 3rd, 5th generation, they are members of the Edward family, and as long as the rights of the core bloodline are not taken out, then everything is actually very simple. This is the most fundamental core reason. It can be said without hesitation. That's what Locke really thinks, and everything else. Let's talk about it later. Locke wasn't too interested in the fact that any of this was true. Well, but, talent is still the most important thing. Vista, Lacchio, the team captains in these original books have gradually joined the Whitebeard pirates, and there will be more and more people in the future. No, Locke shook his head, and said secretly, it's better to quickly set the rules, otherwise. It will only become more and more troublesome. Let them become people with the surname Edward when they were young, otherwise. As they grow older, but it is extremely troublesome. This is very important. But, when Locke thought of his elder brother's education method, he just shook his head silently, and secretly complained, brother just obediently be a loving father, alas. It's really a headache. Why are there so many things going on? Never mind. Let's go and play some games. Locke couldn't help shaking his head as he thought about all these things. Never mind. It's not a big problem. I'd better continue playing my own game, everything else is really meaningless. Minimum. For the time being, it really doesn't make any sense. These all need time to develop gradually, so that I can lead everyone to grow up step by step. Worth to talk about. Locke's ideas have basically happened in the sea. There are only 3 paths for pirates. The first road is to build a country. The pirates, brothers of the country of flowers, built the country of flowers. The second way is to build a family. Beloric Redfield, their family is an ancient pirate, and even became a world noble. What? Worth to talk about. The world aristocracy is divided into 2 types. The first is celestial dragons, who are called the world aristocrats as descendants of gods, and the other is recognized by the world government. This family is a family of world aristocrats and has some rights, of course. Mainly the status among the various countries. And the original Beloric family had such a status, what a pity. The Beloric family has declined, and everything has disappeared. As for the third way, that is to directly replace the world government as the new king of the world. Locke's, Shiki, Kaido, Linlin, everyone's thinking is like this, the result. One counts as one, and one is worse than the other. Kaido and Linlin are still soaking in the magma. No one knows what is going on with them now, are they dead or not? Not to say, will it fail? Mainly, Locke is really not interested in these things. My brother is a person who pursues his family, so he helps out himself. Of course. In summary, Locke thought of such a bunch of things, actually. The fundamental reason is that the development of a family will always require talents, especially when there is no one in your family, you need talents even more. Chapter 39. Newgate. Ah Bell. Are you going to be Lousy's son? There are various ideas on Locke's side. But the other side. The prison ship was found. Actually. There are such prison ships in 4 Seas, Grand Line, and New World. That's right. The number of prison ships is very large. World government has built large and small prisons in 4 Seas and Grand Line. The largest of these is the Impel Down on the Grand Line, the 4 major prisons in the 4 Seas, and hundreds of prisons, large and small. After all, the number of pirates is very large, plus all kinds of messy people, the number of prisons is still more. And the function of the prison ship is actually very simple. The prison ship is to imprison some people who should not appear forever. It is best for these people to be imprisoned in a prison ship. Either they are powerful, either they are special status. Either they are weird races, and it is also very important for these races to be studied. So, this is the important basis for the existence of prison ships. To be frank, Locke also didn't know if this prison ship was Bell's prison ship. Locke narrowed his eyes in his heart and thought, the situation is not sure. I only know that Bell was arrested for research when he was young, and after the war in the Valley of the Gods, Kaido was also arrested. Sometimes research. Really are. Locke rubbed between his brows, he didn't know the specific situation. Just skillfully turned on the big screen. Among the big screen. On top of the huge whale ship. The elder brother and the mechanical Tyrannosaurus were standing there, heading straight for the distance. Moby Dick. During this year, Chuanling and others built an auxiliary ship with a larger capacity than that in the original book. In terms of the number of people, it can accommodate a full 3,000 people. And the materials consumed are all high-grade materials, and it is definitely a very top-level warship. Except in terms of weapons, because there is not such a high technology, it is relatively backward. Others, compared with the top warships of naval headquarters, they are not bad at all. And the Moby Dick is a ship exclusive to his brother. It can be regarded as making up for the situation of the Moby Dick in the original book. Never mind. No matter how fast it is, it will take at least 10 or 8 days. I will continue here. Uncle. Locke turned off the big screen and was about to continue playing the game, but at this moment, a cold and glamorous voice sounded behind him. Lilith's figure stood behind Locke at some point, and said very gracefully, Uncle, it's time for you to rest, it's getting dark. Ah, Locke looked at the time, it's only 11 o'clock in the evening. For me, this is just the beginning, right? But the problem is, Locke looked at Lilith's delicate and beautiful face. Thousands of words silently turned into a sigh, silently shook his head, forget it. Never mind. Even though, it's not impossible to play with women. But, do yourself a favor on your niece. Locke still wants that old face. Moreover, according to Locke's status, nothing else. The status of the Whitebeard pirates, just kidding. Is there a shortage of women? Stop it. Locke just doesn't want to look for it. If he really wants to, Hancock, Shirahoshi, Kazuki Hiyori, the world's 3 beauties, will definitely not be found. But, is it hard to find high-level beauties? Stop it. As long as Locke wants to find it, there is definitely something for him. That's 1,000 words. My eldest niece is also for her own good, so let's go to bed honestly. Locke is asleep here. The following life was also very peaceful. The other side. Newgate headed straight for the prison ship with the mechanical Tyrannosaurus. Gu-la-la-la. Attack. Roar. The mechanical Tyrannosaurus let out a roar, and it went straight to the prison ship in the distance, launching an attack directly. As for Newgate, he just needs to watch it. After all, mechanical Tyrannosaurus requires experience points. During this year, mechanical Tyrannosaurus always goes out to collect experience points, commonly known as fighting monsters, and the same is true for Geruruman. As for the safety of the Sphinx, this is nothing to worry about. Locke's strength is not weak, just a small problem. Only, during this year, Geruruman has not evolved, there is no way, the experience points are too little, and Tyrannosaurus followed the elder brother to brush 108 forces, and all of them are high-level forces. That is a further improvement, evolved to a full body, and the experience value has increased by 10%. It's so easy there. Evolution. It has never been easy, especially in such a chaotic situation now, it is really troublesome, even if one is not careful, it is extremely difficult. Locke is very clear about these. And now that's it. Now that it's out, let the mechanical Tyrannosaurus take the initiative. According to the strength of the mechanical Tyrannosaurus, it is not a big problem to deal with these people. You can also refresh your experience points. Soon. The mechanical Tyrannosaurus handled everything on the prison ship in 7s and 80s, basically killing them all, but under Newgate's stop, some precious things remained. It looks like a very precious thing, probably something that some scientists experimented with. It probably looks like that. Quote. Wearing heavy chains, the boy with white hair, brown skin, and black wings came out step by step. Look at this boy. Newgate was instantly different. At first, he just thought that his younger brother wanted to subdue this descendant of the Lunaria tribe. Now, Newgate felt sorry for this little guy from the bottom of his heart. Gu-la-la-la. Newgate stretched out his hand and laughed loudly. Ah Bell, right. Little guy, are you going to be Lousy's son? Chapter 40. Buy one get one free, plus a little Aussie Jr. Advertise here. I can't F*** King understand at all. Locke sat in front of the big screen, watching the scene in front of him. He couldn't understand it at all. Okay. Can't understand. Can't understand. This is just incomprehensible. No kidding. If one day, if a person appeared in front of him, he would open his mouth and shut up and let himself be his son. According to Locke's temper, going up is killing him. But, seeing Belle, who was kneeling on the ground with a plop, crying and hugging his brother's thigh, a picture of you finally showing up, Dad. At this moment Locke fell into a kind of daze. Why? Why is it like this? Could it be that what my brother really eats is not shock fruit, but sun fruit? Can he make other people his son unconditionally? To be frank, no matter how much Locke studies, he just can't understand it. This thing, it's just outrageous. Huh, never mind. Never mind. Locke waved his hand and complained. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. This is King outrageous. No matter how you say it, I think it's outrageous. Spreading his hands, Locke directly spreads his hands. This is really unacceptable to me. Let's watch the anime. Locke's side is to continue to be a salted fish leisurely. The other side. Gu la la la. Newgate looked at Belle and laughed loudly. Belle. From now on, you will be Lousy's son. Ah, Belle looked at the heroic and laughing father. For so many years, the pain he experienced made him extremely firm, it's as if my firmness has been broken. This situation. In fact, it is like the charm of personality, which makes people really follow willingly. Actually, these great figures on the sea are the owners of such special charisma, otherwise, it would be so easy there. Ah, Belle said softly. Father. Gu la la la. Newgate patted Belle on the shoulder, laughed loudly and said, Belle, what are you afraid to say? The current Belle is only 10 years old, basically the same age as Beasta and Lakoyo. So, in the original book, the adult Belle has the same height as Newgate's 6 meters away, but now, he looks a little less, only 2 meters tall. But, according to Locke, this is outrageous. Lousy is only a little over 1.7 meters at the age of 16. This is the height of a normal person, okay. And what about you? One by one, this is the same as advanced development. You are only 10 years old. Is this really 2 meters high? Locke can't accept it. There is definitely something wrong with their height, absolutely. There is a real problem. Father. Ah, Belle listened to Newgate's bold but gentle words, but scratched his head and said, Father, can you save a friend of mine? Friend. Newgate was taken aback, and asked strangely, are you also a friend of the same race as you? Ah, Belle shook his head and said, no. A friend of the demon race, he is also on a prison ship. I probably vaguely remember the location of that prison ship, Dad. You can. Gu la la la. Newgate interrupted Belle's words and laughed loudly. Of course there is no problem. Let's go. Okay, Father. Ah, Belle laughed. He didn't know why. He should be careful now, but I felt the gentleness of my father, the gentleness under the obvious boldness. That's it. The Moby Dick headed straight into the distance. And it was dark when Locke got the news. What? What the hell? Demon race. Ozzy Jr. I am very confused when I know this news. My good guy, is this a buy one get one free? Lunaria family. Demon race. Both are races that have been wiped out above the sea. The Lunaria tribe is very special. They used to be the Aborigines of the Red Line. With the changes 800 years ago, they finally became what they are now. Their race has the ability to adapt to any environment, plus the natural ability to manipulate flames. To be honest, the Lunaria race is a race that can evolve without limit. And what about the demon race? The Majin tribe is a branch of the giant tribe. Giants. The minimum height is also 12 meters, but what about the maximum height? It can reach a height of almost 25 meters. This is the height of the giant race. And the Majin tribe is a branch of the giant tribe. But it is even bigger. The most striking thing about the Majin is that the Majin looks almost like a Majin. As well as, basically, the adult Majin should have a height close to 50 meters. What did you say? Little Ozzy is only 38 meters in the original book. What? This matter? Can only say, little Ozzy is purely because of too much experience since he was a child, and the result. There is a problem with the body. This is impossible. Oz is already 72 years old in the original book, which is equivalent to 24 years old when the age of giants is 3 times that of human beings. Actually, what should be developed has already developed, but it cannot be further improved. That's what's wrong with the body. Originally Locke was still thinking, why is there a problem? Now it seems, if there are no accidents, then there is a problem with the root cause. In childhood, little Ozzy's body had many problems due to the experiment, and this was the most difficult thing to deal with. But Locke rubbed his chin and said with a smile, this is not bad. It is very good to be able to include the last Majin into the Whitebeard pirates. This is no longer buy one get one free. I just don't know if there are any other unexpected gains. Locke's smile is very strong, which is completely unexpected. World government. Prison ship. This is simply a treasure. Chapter 41. Give me a phantom beast. It's hard to make money. It's hard to make money. Advertise here. Prison ship. Actually, there are really good things in here. After all, if it is a prisoner that can be held normally, is it not good to be held in any place? Whether it is placed in prisons around the world or the 5 largest prisons. In general, these are countless. Therefore, these prison ships hold either special people or special treasures. Basically, then, world government will send scientists to conduct research. After all, at this point in time, Vegapunk has not joined the world government yet. Well, keep watching, I think I can still make a fortune. I feel that the income this time should be good. Locke thought to himself. To be honest, as long as the location of the prison ship can be obtained, then absolutely no loss. The location of the prison ship is really special. Locke was thinking about something, and then he continued to look at the big screen in front of him. It was not a big problem, and he continued to watch the excitement, but he was also quite curious about what would happen next. Prison ship. Mechanical Tyrannosaurus, I leave it to you. Lord Newgate, no problem. The voice of the mechanical Tyrannosaurus was very calm, and it flapped its wings and flew straight to the prison ship in front of it. Boom, boom. The roar soon began to explode, and Belle asked curiously, Father, what is this? Gu-la-la-la. Newgate explained. Mechadramon is summoned by Lousie's younger brother's devil fruit, and you'll find out later, just wait. Soon, Mechadramon will be able to handle this battle. Over time, accompanied by the roaring sound of explosions, the prison ship was dealt with in 7s and 80s, and the mechanical Tyrannosaurus had already grabbed a ghost-like creature that was also about 10 meters tall and flaring its teeth and claws. Demon Race. Ozzy Jr. Belle, Little Oz. Belle and Little Ozzy met, and the two looked at each other, and couldn't help but smile. Both are special races, both were captured by the world government, so it's not surprising that the two are friends. Master Newgate, there is still a devil fruit here. At the same time, mechanical Tyrannosaurus handed a devil fruit to Newgate. Newgate looked at this devil fruit, but asked strangely, Locke, what is this devil fruit? Wave. At this time, a light curtain emerges from the chest of mechanical Greymon, and Locke's figure is on the opposite side. Locke looked at the devil fruit in Newgate's hand, thought for a while, and said, Phantom Beast. To be honest, Locke didn't recognize what devil fruit this devil fruit was. Mainly, Locke also found it strange, why did he meet another Eudemon's devil fruit? Let me see. Locke stood up and took out a heavy book from the room. During this year, he integrated many devil fruit illustrations in the world, and after integrating these devil fruit illustrations, it became an extremely thick book. Books. Even though, Locke couldn't figure out what exactly this devil fruit was. But, what is certain is that this devil fruit is basically a phantom beast, which is certain. Obediently, this is simply lucrative, and unexpectedly got another devil fruit. Locke thinks this prison ship is a treasure trove. Saved Belle, gave Ozzy, and now a devil fruit. MMP. Locke thinks it's pretty darn good. Found it. Locke browsed for a long time, and finally found out what this devil fruit is. Result. Just looked up. Father. The 10-meter tall little Ozzy sat cross-legged on the ground, scratching his head foolishly, and grinningly called Newgate Daddy. Quote. Locke literally fell silent. This moment. I always feel that it is very strange. Why? This is my own idea, what is the reason for this? Belle, Little Ozzy. Their status is special, their race is special, so say. Generally speaking, it is impossible for them to trust anyone so easily. Result. Not only did they trust their elder brother, they even said, just call him Daddy. This made Locke feel confused, always feeling that he could not accept such a situation at all. The corner of Locke's mouth twitched, and he complained secretly, maybe. What my brother ate was the fruit of his son, right? It's really outrageous that his mother opened the door for outrageous, and outrageous is home. Locke really thinks it's quite outrageous, it's really very strange. Never mind. Locke is also too lazy to think about it so much, he still doesn't think so much about this matter, all in all it is very outrageous. My elder brother accepts his son, just like it is Shank's face. Always succeed. Gu-la-la-la. Newgate was laughing, then turned his head and said with a smile, Locke, have you found this devil fruit or devil fruit? Locke nodded, and said, Mau fruit, phantom beast, and griffin phantom beast devil fruit, among all phantom beast devil fruits, it is not the top phantom beast, but I think it is suitable to listen to Belle. The strong resilience of phantom beasts is combined with Belle's adaptability. The griffin can manipulate wind and thunder, and Belle is born with the ability to fire. This devil fruit is very suitable for Belle. I always feel that it is almost a tailor-made devil fruit. Locke spoke very calmly. Of course, it's not a lie. Rather, it is really very suitable. Chapter 42. Meeting Kaido. Mechanical Greymon vs Kaido. Advertise here. Click. Belle ate the griffin fruit mouthful. Locke asked curiously. Belle, isn't it delicious? Belle looked at Locke silently, and said, Uncle, it's super unpalatable. However, this is nothing. During the process of being tested, this is the simplest. Quote. Listening to Bell's words, Locke didn't say anything. Mainly, at this time, what you say seems to be wrong, right? Locke silently shook his head. Never mind. Never mind. It's better not to discuss this matter, just treat the past as the past. Soon. Roar. Bell, who ate the griffin fruit, let out a low growl. The next moment, the wings on his back swelled instantly, while the left side was surrounded by strong wind, and the right side was surrounded by thunder. His body also turned into a roaring lion. Griffin. A legendary creature with the body and claws of a lion, the head and wings of an eagle in Western mythology and fantasy. Born with the power to manipulate wind and thunder. And these two kinds of power and the terrifying resilience provided by the phantom beasts are definitely very suitable for Bell, the Lunaria tribe. To be frank, from Locke's point of view, the most suitable for the Lunaria family is the devil fruit of the phantom beast species, and the others are not suitable at all. Locke nodded and said, sure enough, it's the fruit of the griffin. That's fine, brother, you can study the rest by yourself, and I'll let you know. There are 7 more months at most, Sphinx, it's just that the building is finished, and you come back quickly when the time comes. La. Newgate grinned and said, no problem. No problem. Absolutely no problem. Locke also hung up on his own communication. Things worked out. Joke. Is it good to earn blood? What level of talent is Bell? As far as I am concerned, Bell has been well trained, that is, a genius who is capable of writing and martial arts, wisdom and bravery, plus being a Lunaria tribe and now eating devil fruit, which is a phantom beast species, the future. Needless to say, everyone knows that he is definitely a top-level powerhouse. As for Ozzy Jr., then forget it. As long as it is a normal adult Ozzy, it must be at least a quasi-admiral level. For the demons, it is very troublesome for them to learn two-color hockey, and as long as Ozzy can learn it, that is admiral level. Bye. If only a proper devil fruit could be eaten. Does that need to be said? So, the development speed of the Whitebeard pirates is very good. In the future, Bell and little Ozzy will be there. Wait until Marco joins. That's the minimum. Locke can be sure that as long as they are properly cultivated, there will be 3 people in the admiral class. What concept? What concept? Joke. If this growth rate is really followed, when the time comes, a family of 4 admirals, plus 2 royal knights, 3 royal knights. Joke. Summit war. The Whitebeard pirates crush your naval headquarters to the ground. Wrong. Based on the calculation of 1 knight soul in 3 years, there can be 10 souls in 30 years, and there will be at least 12 in the Summit War 36 years later. Lousy will bring 12 royal knights, plus a family of 4 admirals, for a total of 16 admirals. Ah, who dares to compare with me, even if it is I am, Lousy's head will be pried open for you. Locke thought of this wonderful scene in the future, and said with a smile, it's really good. This kind of life is the best, this is the best life. When the busy things are over, you can enjoy life well. It's 3 to 5 years at most. Comfortable. Locke leaned comfortably on the sofa, picked up the handle and started playing the game with a smile. Only, how do you say it sometimes, the flag really cannot be set up casually. That can really happen. So, what Locke doesn't know is that the leisurely life he wants may be farther and farther away in the future. Only, who knows? Well, this is something that no one can say. Locke doesn't yet know what the future holds. At the same time, the Moby Dick also continued to sail. Now that they have all come out, it is of course impossible to go back like this. Newgate is going to let Mecha Greymon go back. After all, Geruruman went out to gain experience, and it is very important to let Mechanical Tyrannosaurus go back. Although my brother said that he is not weak, he is too lazy. It is unrealistic for you to expect him to fight. Dragon Beast go back. Looking at the Mechanical Tyrannosaurus, Newgate also thought secretly in his heart, I don't know when the Mechanical Tyrannosaurus can evolve further. According to what Locke said, shouldn't there be another evolution? Newgate is less clear. Only, at this time, roar. A ball of scorching fire suddenly fell from the sky. Seeing this scorching flame, Newgate turned his head, punched out, and the air exploded instantly. Wave. The fireball also shattered instantly. Worororo. Whitebeard, you old man's strength seems to have become stronger. With the familiar laughter, Newgate raised his head and looked at the cyan dragon winding out of the sky. Yu fruit phantom beast species Qinglong form. 100 beasts Kaido. This is the devil fruit given to Kaido by Linlin after the Valley of the Gods War. And Kaido, who Newgate personally recruited into the Locke's pirates at the age of 15, is also growing rapidly. Even though it still looks weak. But the future is very different. But, la. Newgate laughed out loud, but changed the subject and said ferociously, Mecha Tyrannosaurus. After defeating this guy, you dare to trouble us? Okay, Lord Newgate. The Mechanical Tyrannosaurus instantly soared into the sky. Chapter 43. Mechanical Tyrannosaurus defeated Kaido, only 10% less experience. Advertise here. 100 Beasts Kaido, once a member of the Locke's Pirates. At the age of 15, he was personally invited by Newgate to join the Locke's Pirates. Even at the end, with the disbandment of the Locke's Pirates, Kaido is still a substitute pirate, but anyone who dares to look down on Kaido is a joke. Kaido's strength is extremely terrifying. Especially after the Valley of the Gods War ended, he ate the fruit of the fish, the phantom beast, and the blue dragon form. After this devil fruit, Kaido's strength has been explosively improved. Only, Kaido is still just a kid. In the eyes of these monsters, Kaido, your time has not come yet. It's not. Roar. Kaido opened his mouth and let out another scorching breath. Facing such a dragon's breath, the mechanical Tyrannosaurus lifted the mechanical arm of its left hand, cutting off the flame directly, seemingly unscathed. Although it is not the top-level Digizoid. But, anyway, this is also Chrono Digizoid. Are you kidding? Is that a weak thing? Obviously. This truth, as long as you are not an idiot, then it is very clear. And followed closely. The mechanical Tyrannosaurus went straight to Kaido, and the sharp trident arm went straight to the opponent. The speed was extremely fast, almost between Setsuna, as if it wanted to penetrate Kaido. At the same time, a jet black armament hockey is attached to Mechagremon's trident arm. Locke, who was playing the game, felt something, paused the game, and muttered strangely, the mechanical Tyrannosaurus is fighting again. What's going on? Didn't things just get settled? Result. The battle has begun again. Turn on the big screen skillfully. Result. Locke happened to see the fierce battle before him. Mechanical Greymon versus Kaido. Seeing this scene, Locke became interested in an instant, rubbed his chin interestingly, and said with a smile, Kaido. This is a very good experience, boss, and the current Kaido is not strong. Defeating the current Kaido, wait until the future Kaido becomes stronger and continue to defeat him. In that case, it can be said that the strength improvement that can be brought can be said to be many times. As for killing Kaido, Locke doesn't have this idea. Not that he doesn't have this idea, but it's basically impossible. Don't think it's a joke. 100 Beasts Kaido, the strongest creature in the world. Just this name alone has proved the identity and ability of the future Kaido. Kaido is almost undead, in the midst of the Wano Kuni War. Indeed, Luffy's fifth gear has a combat power comparable to 4 emperors, but are you really sure that Luffy can beat the 4 emperors? Or, can Luffy really beat the unscathed 4 emperors in their prime? Should say, it's hard. Luffy's strength has not reached that level, and Kaido has gone through rounds of wheel battles, and the result has become that way, so let's say. War, it's so easy there. The strength of 4 emperors. Don't really think it's easy. The recovery power brought by Kaido's own blood plus green dragon fruit is extremely terrifying. Bump. In the fierce battle on the battlefield, Locke lay on the sofa in a paralyzed state, and said lazily, the current Kaido, sure enough. It is probably the strength of a vice admiral, which is not surprising. The Valley of Gods War just started. It would be the strangest thing if Kaido's strength is so strong. Probably like this. Mecha Greymon 1. Let me see. Locke is the experience value of the Mecha Greymon who started watching. Tornado Bad Wind. Gigabyte Destruction Cannon. When Locke was distracted, Kaido and Mechanical Greymon had already started to confront each other. Wave. The strength of the two went straight to each other. Between Setsuna, the monstrous shock wave exploded instantly. But, Mechanical Tyrannosaurus' unique move, the explosive power, is definitely a real power, but what about Kaido? No matter how terrifying the green dragon fruit is, no matter how powerful its own strength is. Not an opponent at all. Boom. Roar. Under the terrifying bombardment, Kaido let out a terrifying roar, and the entire dragon twisted in the sky. And he watched the Mechanical Tyrannosaurus turn around deeply, and left without hesitation. The speed of escape is extremely fast. Kaido knows. The opponent is very strong. I am not an opponent. That being the case, then just leave now. To be frank, Kaido means to no matter what you want to do, if you pass by, you just pass by honestly and it's over. You don't really think that this is the final result when you say hello as soon as you get hot, right? I can only say, in the Locke's Pirates, Kaido was too arrogant, and this kind of arrogance has become a habit. Now, joke. Lousy is your father. Lousy spoils you so much. Lousy can't wait to kill you. Gigabit Storm. Kaido wanted to escape, but the Mechanical Tyrannosaurus didn't intend to forget it, but opened the lift chamber on its chest again. Why is Digimon's unique move a unique move? Because this thing has a cooldown just like the big move. It doesn't mean that you can continue to use it casually. When the lift chamber was opened, the organic missiles inside had disappeared without a trace, replaced by a terrifying scorching energy wave that instantly went straight to Kaido. Roar. Kaido wailed in pain again. His dragon body was pierced through 2 huge holes in an instant, and at this moment Kaido turned around and opened his mouth to breathe out a roaring dragon breath. Followed by, Kaido shook off the blaster and headed off into the distance. Run away now. Run away now. And Locke looked at the escaped Kaido on the big screen, and said silently, this is the win. It's so easy. Sure enough, it's about to evolve. Chapter 44. The Time Traveler, the Reborn Person, are born superior. Treat people as NPCs. Advertise here. Let me see. Let me see. Locke didn't care one bit about Kaido's loss. But kill Kaido. Locke thinks it's unlikely. After all, my brother can't fly. Under such circumstances, it is basically impossible to kill Kaido. Kaido's physical resilience is too terrifying. And the current green dragon fruit has not been developed to the degree of awakening, and it will only be more terrifying when it is awakened in the future. This is absolutely beyond doubt. But for Mecha Greymon to defeat Kaido, Locke felt that it was a very normal thing. Joke. If this cannot be defeated, it will be the strangest thing. Mechanical Tyrannosaurus already has a lot of experience in this year's time, and the power erupted from its 2 ultimate moves is enough to match the Admiral level power erupted in an instant. Do I need to say more? Obviously. There is no need for any nonsense anymore. This is an undoubted thing, the real strength of the Mechanical Tyrannosaurus. 90% experience value. Almost. The remaining 10% can be used casually, 1 year. Well, half a year, at most half a year, basically it can evolve. Good. Battle Greymon is a real Admiral class powerhouse, so it's up to that time. 2 admirals in a group can also make up for the lack of overall strength. Locke carefully analyzed the situation. No way. The number of Whitebeard pirates is too small, the Luogia pirates are all elite, the Whitebeard pirates are purely on their own, and the flying pirates have a large number of people. The most important thing is, the flying pirates have inherited a large number of Locke's pirates, and their overall strength is extremely astonishing. Therefore, this is the fundamental reason why the flying pirates were able to defeat the Luogia pirates in the Battle of 8 Wall. They are very strong because of the large number of them. The Luogia pirates have 3 admiral level fighters. But the problem is, it is possible for the flying pirates to have 5, 6, even 7, or even 8. What strength? The 8 vice presidents are at the quasi-admiral level. Right. There are 3 admirals in your family, and 10 Wongfus in Laozi's family. What level do you see? So, of the 3 legendary pirate groups of the next era, the Whitebeard pirate group is actually the weakest. It is simply that my brother and a group of radish heads are struggling to maintain this position. And when it came to the era of 4 emperors, my elder brother seemed to be much stronger. But actually, at Summit War it was visible, actually. That's not the case at all. The real strength is simply not worth mentioning. Just look at the strength that Marine has shown, and then look at yourself. Amount. In general, so be it. Anyway, Locke has such an idea, although he likes to be a salted fish, but still the same sentence. No one is really a salty fish. Locke is very clear that he just likes to fish, not just being lazy for the sake of being lazy. That is pure SB. Not to mention, Locke is a person who pays more attention, or in other words, attaches great importance to family affection. Talk about it. Actually, Locke felt that it was outrageous. Why is a time traveler and reborn, then? It's okay. Very natural without any emotion. It's the weirdest, even the most outrageous thing Locke has ever found. Are they really born with hearts of stone? Or, they are born to think that they are superior to others, and everyone else in this world is an NPC? Anyway, Locke can't accept such a thing at all, and also finds it very strange. People have feelings. As the feelings grow, they gradually change themselves. Isn't this a very normal thing? It is true that I have not known my elder brother for a long time. But the problem is, I can feel the kindness my elder brother treats me, and I can also feel the respect those little guys have for me. Therefore, Locke has feelings, and the kind of people who have no feelings, Locke thinks the most strange thing. Well, Locke was speechless. Never mind. Anyway, it's not a big deal, why do you think so much? But we still need to study it. First. Definitely continue to work on this prison ship. Locke let out a black-bellied smile, which could be said to be getting darker and darker. Prison ship. Especially the prison ship in New World. Special race. Devil fruit. Obediently. They are all high-quality treasures. It's like exploring a secret land. You never know what you will get in the next moment. It's really too comfortable. And the corners of Locke's mouth curled up, and he murmured with a smile, these things. They are still very precious. For the world government, they are also very hidden. No matter what, the world government cannot casually expose them. Well, it's really good. Never mind. Go to sleep. Locke smacked his lips, watching the weather gradually darken, ready to go back to sleep and rest. Stop playing. Going to bed early today, Locke went back to his room to sleep. Only, as Locke returned to the room, a pink figure came to the hall of the villa at some point, looking at the handles and messy things scattered all over the place, but he didn't find Locke's figure, and the other party was obviously taken aback. That's right. The person who came was Lilith. As the eldest niece, she regularly supervises the sleep of uncle in her family every day. Result. Today, my uncle went to bed so early. Lilith tilted her head slightly in a daze. Chapter 45. Behave at will, this kindness. I will definitely report. Locke is resting here. The other side. Newgate brought two newly adopted sons, what a thrill. Little Oz. Ah Bell. One is the demon race. One is the Lunaria tribe. What concept? What's the meaning? These are all races that have perished in history. Joke. Now they are all adopted sons of lousy, For Newgate, this feeling is like collecting collectibles. That feeling is really refreshing, and the whole person is extremely comfortable. When you take a breath, you are refreshed. Cool. Lord Newgate, I'm leaving. The voice of mechanical Tyrannosaurus was very calm, and it even quietly looked at Newgate, Bell, and Ozzy in front of him. Gu la la la. Newgate laughed and said, of course no problem. Mechanical Greymon, go back and tell Locke that Lousy will take the two little guys outside to play for a while. The mechanical Tyrannosaurus nodded, then flapped its wings and flew away. Quote question mark. Quote. Ah Bell tilted his head, and asked strangely, Father, what is the reason for the existence of mechanical Tyrannosaurus? Gu la la la. Looking at the curious Bell, Newgate laughed and said, you brat, don't think about it too much. Devil Fruit's ability is very special. There are all kinds of strange things, and everyone as they have their own secrets, and if they get too thorough, even the family members will not be able to go on. Listening to the old man's words, Bell also nodded seriously. He knew that what the old man said was correct. People, there must be secrets, even if it is a husband and wife, there are secrets. And most of the time it's that simple. Secret. It's better not to ask too much, otherwise. Friends or relatives, maybe. No matter how good the relationship is, it will still collapse. And, Newgate attaches great importance to the relationship between relatives, and he is very clear that these things should be done. Actually, in the original book, Newgate is known to many people, and they hide a lot, such as Teach. When Ace chose to pursue, Newgate tried to dissuade Ace, because he had already been keenly aware of Teach's amazing strength. Only, sometimes, want to quit, want to change. Actually, it was too late. Moby Dick. It has gradually drifted away, heading for the distance, but there are very few people on the Moby Dick, and the rest of the people, everyone is quietly looking into the distance. Second day. Locke woke up, stretched his muscles and bones casually, feeling a relaxed mood, and said lazily, don't talk. Go to bed early and get up early, sometimes it's really good. It's so comfortable. Locke stood up comfortably, took a shower, sat on the sofa, and casually picked up the pastry on the side, with a carefree look about to taste the pastry. At this time, quote. Locke saw Lilith's back through the big screen, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Lilith, I got up pretty early today, right? Uncle, Lilith said calmly. You need to take good care of your body, otherwise. Your future. The corners of Locke's mouth twitched, listening to Lilith's tirade. God knows. As Lilith of the medical family, she has made great changes to everyone in the entire Whitebeard Pirates. Everyone, under Lilith's changes, has undergone earth-shaking changes. It is not an exaggeration. Only, Lilith is really too scary. She has very strict requirements on many people, and this is the most frightening thing. Even Locke is very helpless. No idea. Lilith is simply a stumbling block to my relaxing life every day. Sighing helplessly, Locke waved his hands and said, Lilith, you'd better go and look at those little guys. Their bodies are even more final. Lilith spoke hesitantly. To be frank, of course it wasn't that Lilith had any idea about Locke. Actually, Lilith's idea is very simple. She is the ship's doctor of the Whitebeard Pirates, and what she needs to consider is the health and safety of everyone, while the old man is repairing the hidden wounds, and if Uncle is like this, he will also have terrible hidden wounds in the future. Therefore, Lilith hoped that Locke could assure herself that there was nothing wrong with her. Even though, it's always been, no matter what kind of crazy actions Locke did, he didn't have any hidden wounds, which made Lilith feel strange. Locke chuckled and said, my body is different from normal people because of my abilities. Normal people's hidden wounds, injuries, etc., will not appear on my body, okay? Lilith, no you need to be so nervous, don't worry. Okay, Uncle. Listening to what Locke said, Lilith also nodded and left after a brief hesitation. Anyway, since Locke has already said so, if he is still entangled, then it seems that it is not good. Locke looked at Lilith who was leaving, and said helplessly, it's true. Although I know it's for my own good, I still feel very helpless. But, it doesn't matter. Isn't it good for someone to care? Locke turned on the big screen and continued to chase. The other side. Boom. Boom. As the roar exploded, a pirate ship had been rescued. A man lay weakly on top of the pirate ship. He raised his head weakly, looked at the flag in front of him, and murmured, Whitebeard sea thieves. This kindness. I will definitely repay you. Finished. The man just passed out. Chapter 46. Childhood Bell, childhood little Ozzy, subdue. Father. Bell asked curiously. Won't you shoot him? Gu la la la. Newgate, of course, is what Bell said. That pirate. The pirate who lost everything in the war. Newgate laughed and said, Belle, don't think about these in the past, these are not important, just deal with everything else slowly. Belle kept silent, and after a while, he said softly, Father, can I go back with you? I want to see what the scenery at home is like. It is good, let's go. Newgate looked at the firmness in Belle's eyes, and nodded with a light smile. Return. Newgate is such a person. Since it is said, Belle wants to go back and have a look. So, just go back and have a look, and let Belle see what everything in the house looks like. Newgate squinted his eyes, thinking secretly in his heart. The thing Locke said needs to be considered, when will it start? The Sphinx is complete. That was the best time. At that time, drinking the foster son's wine and foster father's wine, everyone inherited Edward's surname, this is the best time. Newgate nodded calmly, although he didn't know much about this matter. But, this doesn't mean that Newgate didn't take this matter to heart. Undeniably said, just like what my brother said. Sometimes, is a person truly loyal? This is something no one can guarantee. Therefore, the best way is to limit the opponent in some way. And, such an approach is definitely very appropriate. After all, no matter when, anyone, as long as they inherit the surname, then. Naturally, the heart is different. Locke is very clear that the Whitebeard pirates want to exist for a long time, and this is the best way. Whether you admit it or not. Or, everything else. That's the best, most appropriate, and easiest thing to do. Exhaling deeply, Newgate didn't think too much about it, and this matter came to an end for the time being. The Moby Dick was gradually moving away into the distance. Only, what Newgate didn't know was that he was being targeted again. The mechanical Tyrannosaurus fluttered its wings and flew high, but it gradually fell down. Lord Locke. Locke was lying in the courtyard of the villa, wearing swimming trunks, lying on a deck chair, watching the mechanical Tyrannosaurus falling from the sky, and said lazily, Mechanical Tyrannosaurus, are you back? Yes. The voice of Mechanical Greymon is calm. Or. This is the change of Digimon. Even if they are not very old, but with evolution, the whole person will become completely different. This feeling may be the most change, and it is also the change that makes people feel the most different. Locke didn't feel any differently about it. Just don't care. At the same time, Locke thought for a while, and said, it's just right, you're back with Mechanical Tyrannosaurus, let Geruruman go to hone it for a while, and continue to collect experience, if you count the time. Geruruman is about to evolve. Gone. Yes, Lord Locke, Mechanical Tyrannosaurus naturally has no objections. Locke, on the other hand, is smiling and squinting. The other side, Sword Beast stands calmly behind Locke, it is not in any hurry, but for Sword Beast, it is more of a slow growth. Digimon. They are essentially different. Mechanical Greymon and Geruruman can only evolve through battles. And, the Sword Beast is different, it can also gain experience points by honing its own kendo, although it is not much, but for the Sword Beast, it is not in a hurry. After all, in the current situation, Locke does not need to disperse, but to ensure the elite. Only the elite are sufficient. Or, the number of strong people is enough, this is the most important thing. Moby Dick. Brother is back. Locke suddenly felt strange, the Moby Dick came back, and it was in the front and back of his Mechanical Tyrannosaurus. This is a very strange thing. According to my brother's character, since he ran away, how could he come back without wasting a few months? Moreover, the Sphinx is about to be remodeled in 7 months at most. By then, it is about to set sail. Taking advantage of this time, Newgate must go out for a dip. Locke is also quite helpless towards his elder brother, acting purely like a child. Although it's quite helpless. But, go and see. Why did you come back all of a sudden? Locke also felt strange, rubbed his eyebrows, then stood up, and walked not far away. At the same time, walking on the road, Locke muttered, in general, the size of the Sphinx is still very large, and we still need to study a method to allow everyone to reach it quickly, but this thing should not be easy. Gone. Locke squinted at these thoughts. In general, for all pirates, the overall strength is still very good. For the future Whitebeard pirate group, this distance is actually nothing. You look at the whole Ghost Island war. The front line was really quite scary. While thinking, Locke walked to the port of the Sphinx, just in time. I saw the people coming down from the Moby Dick. Locke nodded silently. He is 2 meters tall, of the Lunaria tribe, Belle in his childhood. He is 10 meters tall, a demon, Ozzy Jr. in childhood. Conquer. Chapter 47. Whitebeard Pirate Standard Configuration. Call version communication ring. Advertise here. Gu-la-la-la. Locke, you came. Before Locke could speak, Newgate greeted Locke with a big smile. Locke looked at his elder brother, nodded with a smile and said, brother, you came back early enough this time. According to your personality, I thought you would be wandering outside for a while. Gu-la-la-la. Newgate laughed and said, Lousy didn't want to come back, it's just that Belle wanted to come back and have a look, so Lousy brought the two of them back. Quote. Locke didn't say much, just smiled and looked at Belle and Ozzy. How to say? Locke's eyes are calm, normal. Only. Watched by this pair of eyes, the two of them felt a kind of pressure at the same time. That feeling. Very strange. It seems that they don't understand why there is pressure. Actually, this situation is not surprising. The authority of the world tree that Locke inherited is only a very small part. Don't look at Locke always inventing some weird things. These are just some low-end use explosions of data capabilities, very simple. But, what Locke inherited was the authority of the King of Knights, even if it's just the authority of the King of Knights, and I'm usually careless like a lazy salted fish, but I am still the King of Knights in essence. King of the Royal Knights. So, the more sensitive people are, the more they can feel it, and the Lunaria and Majin are naturally different. He. Locke chuckled and said, okay, don't be so nervous, Belle. Little Ozzy, here's a little present for you too. Talking, Locke handed the 2 rings to Belle and Ozzy respectively. The 2 rings looked very ordinary. It's a simple ring with the logo of the Whitebeard pirates on the front, and the ring is made of metal. It looks like this. Only, it always feels weird. The 2 little guys didn't seem to understand why Uncle gave him this gift when they met for the first time. Uncle, Belle asked curiously, what is this? What? Locke thought for a while, then explained with a smile. This is something I'm researching, you can just treat it as a combination of phone bugs and image phone bugs, Let's try it out. Talking, Locke raised his left hand, and his ring exuded a ray of light. Next moment, a big screen emerged, and anyone who was familiar with it would notice it, darling. Isn't this the voice call interface of a certain penguin? Uncle, this. Belle felt the vibrating ring, but showed a shocked expression. Locke said casually, put on the ring, and then, if you think in your heart, you can connect. It is good. Belle put on the ring, and as a smart boy, he soon figured it out. Then, Belle raised his head in shock, while Locke chuckled and said, understood now. This thing can replace the phone bug, and there is no possibility of being peeped at all, by the way. This is a headset. Locke took out 2 earphones and handed them to the 2 people. In the future, you can adjust the size according to you, and you won't be heard through the earphones. And also, there is a friend function in it. I'm still a researcher recently, storing Bailey or something. After all, the Sphinx is so big, although everyone will be family in the future, but some people sell some things, and when it's time to settle accounts, they still have to settle accounts. Well, in general, I have a lot of ideas, but let's wait until the future. Locke on the phone ring he researched. Whitebeard like talking ring. That's probably the name. Explained very clearly. In general, the explanation is still very easy, and many functions are simple and easy to understand. Locke's calling ring, referred to as White Ring. In total, there are 336 friends. Among these people, Locke is also grouped. Newgate is in a separate group, and my brother is in a group. The little nurses brought by Lilith are in a separate group. Belle, Little Ozzy, Vista, Rakio, a separate group. Everyone else sums up a group. Even though Locke is very good for everyone, but there are still necessary groups, which are easy to find. Moreover, future cadres, captain, these are very clear to distinguish, and this is also very important. Thank you, Uncle. Thank you, Uncle. Belle bowed respectfully, while Little Ozzy bowed his head in a low voice. And Locke rubbed his chin and said, well, seriously, for Little Ozzy, I have a devil fruit that is more suitable for Little Ozzy. Thanks for both. Locke doesn't care at all. The little guy in my family thanks me, so do I still need to be proud? Shame or not? Devil fruit. Newgate asked curiously, Locke, what devil fruit is suitable for Little Ozzy? Locke didn't say anything, but rubbed his chin, as if thinking about something. Valley of the Gods War. The Edward brothers got a total of 21 devil fruits. Don't think this number is small. Actually, this number is already very large, even if it is celestial dragons, this kind of world nobles who can feed devil fruit to slaves casually, it does not mean that devil fruit is really endless. Moreover, it must be placed in the red line as a collection, and it is impossible to bring it to the Valley of the Gods casually. Valley of the Gods is more of a place for banquets. And, over the past year, Locke has collected a lot of devil fruit illustrations. It was mainly collected by my elder brother after attacking 108, and I got all 21 devil fruits out. Chapter 48. Mini Fruit Oz. Locke Fruit Lacchio. Advertise here. Come with me. Correct. Call Lacchio. There is a devil fruit, which I think is quite suitable for Lacchio. Locke turned and walked towards the villa. At the same time, don't forget to call Lacchio. How to say? Locke didn't think eating devil fruit was a bad thing, especially for the little ones. Undeniable. Above this sea, one can become a top powerhouse without eating devil fruit. But this ratio is simply too low. So, Locke believes that eating when you should eat can increase your strength and improve your strength. Is there anything bad about this? This in itself is a very common thing. Beasta is a swordsman, and he wants to work hard to become the world's #1 swordsman in the future. It's no surprise that Beasta doesn't eat it. Ah Bell, little Ozzy, Rakyo. I think it is definitely a better thing for them to eat devil fruit. Soon, a group of people came to the villa, and Lakyo, who resembled Captain Jack, was called over. Father, uncle, Lakyo scratched his head with a smile, and Vista also followed, looking at this side curiously, not knowing what was going on. Locke casually pulled out a treasure chest from the side of the villa. One open. It's full of devil fruit. Ah, Newgate complained. Locke, you put this devil fruit here casually. What? Locke was taken aback, and asked in astonishment. Brother, are you afraid that these little guys will steal it? Impossible. The little guys are not idiots, how could they steal devil fruit casually? No, that was not what I meant. Newgate waved his hand and asked, what are you thinking, kid? Is this devil fruit thrown here casually? Locke said calmly. Brother, you are simply thinking too much. If there are enemies who can come here, then it's essentially the same wherever they are placed. It means that our Whitebeard pirates have been destroyed. Quote. Quote. Listening to Locke's calm words, everyone fell into silence. But if you think about it carefully, this is really the case. If only you could get people to come here. Joke. Doesn't that mean that you are basically cool? So. It really doesn't matter where you put it. Go. Go aside. Locke waved his hand at Newgate, telling him to step aside. After searching in the treasure chest, he quickly found a devil fruit and said, Paramesha mini fruit. Under the condition of keeping the strength unchanged. Through this devil fruit, you can freely switch between the size range of the main body, 30 centimeters, and 5 millimeters. It is definitely the most suitable for a demon like Little Oz. Quote. Listening to Locke's words, Little Ozzy scratched his head with a naive look. Little Ozzy said obediently, Uncle will do what he says. Ha ha ha. Hearing Little Ozzy's words, Locke couldn't help laughing, chuckled and shook his head, jumped up, and threw the mini fruit into Little Ozzy's mouth. In the original book, this was originally a giant, but it was a devil fruit eaten by a female giant. Now, Locke felt that it was most appropriate to give it to Little Ozzy. What kind of benefits would the devils eat after eating such devil fruit? I am afraid, but as long as you are not an idiot, then everything will be very clear. Sometimes, undeniably said, a lot of devil fruit is indeed very scary, but if a top-level devil fruit is eaten by a piece of garbage, it will not be able to exert its full power. But there are some devil fruits, although they don't look very powerful, they are. If after being eaten, then, on the contrary, the power exerted is equally astonishing. Buzz. Little Ozzy, who ate the devil fruit, instantly shrank to a size of 30 centimeters at a speed visible to the naked eye. The hands and feet of the very dazed activists looked at their little friend, Belle, and jumped up and landed on Belle's shoulder above. The weight is also reduced. Belle felt the little Ozzy who was almost weightless, and also revealed a shocked expression. Not only has the height changed, but the weight has also been reduced. More than that, the power is not weakened. This. Simply the perfect devil fruit for giants. No kidding. Possessing the power of a giant family, but a small villain with a stature of only 5 millimeters, what do you think will be the result? Obviously, as long as you are not an idiot, you will know what the outcome of this matter will be. How about it? I'll just say it. Mini fruit, although it is not a powerful devil fruit. But, definitely the perfect devil fruit for Little Oz. Correct. Lakyo, this is your devil fruit. Okay, uncle. While talking, Locke threw another devil fruit to Lakyo. Lakyo took the devil fruit without any hesitation, and just ate it with big gulps. Wow, it's so unpalatable. Lakyo almost spit out the devil fruit, what should I say? The most unpalatable taste in the world is not enough to describe the unpalatable level of devil fruit. But, Lakyo still ate it firmly, and as the devil fruit ate, Lakyo raised his hand. Moment. All 10 fingers turned into chains, stretching out without limit. Paramesha suo fruit. Chapter 49. What's wrong with me? I am not a scientist. Clatter. The quick eyes of the chains. Then, Lakyo just studied it a little bit, then took it back. Paramesha suo fruit. Locke then explained. The person who locks the fruit and eats this devil fruit can change any part of the body into a chain, and can manipulate the chain person freely. Rakyo. You like to use meteor hammers, this devil fruit is indeed the most suitable. But, I need to study the making of the weapon for you later. Locke sat down on the recliner beside him, thinking about this question. Lakyo asked curiously, Uncle, what kind of weapon are you talking about? What? Locke turned his head and explained. Through the bloodline factor, Zone's devil fruit can be extracted, so that it can be integrated into the weapon, so that the weapon has the power of Zone devil fruit. Everyone nodded their heads one by one, expressing that they understood clearly. Locke continued to explain. According to my research. Let's not talk about ancient species and phantom beast species, the most suitable devil fruit for making meteor hammers is the turtle fruit, common species, and snapping turtle form. Jink attack and retreat can be defended. So, Locke, let's start. Newgate waved his hand, a picture of you hurrying to start. F***K. Locke was stunned, and couldn't help but swear. Lousy didn't say he knew this kind of high technology. When did I say I knew it? Locke couldn't help but rolled his eyes, really didn't know how to complain. MMs. Vegapunk is a brain fruit capable person, and it is only right that he discovered the blood factor. Joke. Don't you know what kind of self you are? Through their own special abilities. There must be no problems with these technologically manufactured items created. Quote. Everyone looked at Locke silently. Finally. Newgate curled his lips with a look of disdain. Cut. Hey. Hearing this, Locke was not happy, and said unhappily, brother. You are a bit too much. I don't understand what's so strange about this thing. You bastard. But it's really annoying. Locke spread his hands directly, and said casually, you can say that. I just don't understand, shut up. With that time, you might as well study how to get such a technology. Cut. Through Locke's words, Newgate pouted, turned around and left. Uncle, we walked. Go. Locke waved his hand calmly, and a group of little guys also left. As everyone left, Locke rubbed his chin and said, generally speaking, this matter is not easy to deal with. This technology, it is indeed quite special. How can I master it? Undeniably said, infuse zone devil fruit into weapons with the blood factor. This is definitely not an easy thing to do. But Locke doesn't know if Vegapunk has been researched now, and he doesn't know where Vegapunk is squatting. I don't know what happened to the MAD's illegal research team at all. But Locke thought about it and said, the MAD's illegal research team should be relatively short of money. Calculate the time, it is 37 years ago, and according to Vegapunk's age, it should be almost discovered soon. Locke raised the corners of his mouth interestingly, and said with a smile, at that time, you can find the MAD's illegal research team to trade, anyway, you won't trade other technologies, just this one is enough. Okay, it's almost enough to think about it today. It's time to relax. Stretching comfortably, Locke got up and went back to the living room of the villa, and continued to play games, catch up, eat snacks, and drink Fat House happy water. What? Worth to talk about. In this world, there is no happy water for fat houses. Locke has always been drinking beer. But staying at home, if you drink beer, it is too insensitive. So, Locke has been researching for a long time, and even asked other people to help research, and this is the way to make the Fat House happy water with basically the same taste. As for the ingredients, Locke can only say that the ingredients must be different. La. This brat. Newgate left the villa. Seeing that his little brother was rarely devastated. That is a fun joke, although it is said that the two brothers are brothers. But, all the time, Newgate is basically which one is suppressed. No way. Newgate's character is like this, he is very generous to his relatives. And, on the contrary, Locke's character is even more so. Locke either doesn't care about everything, or cares about everything, so he will definitely not give up halfway. And, as a pirate, I have nothing to do but like to go out and surf. So say it. Newgate is the captain, but in fact, the captain's position belongs to Locke. Father. At this moment, Lilith walked over step by step. Looking at Lilith, the corners of Newgate's mouth twitched slightly, as if he wanted to say something. But, this moment, Newgate fell into a kind of silence. God knows what you did. May I ask who the heavens have spared? Ha. Locke saw this scene on the big screen, and couldn't help but burst out laughing excitedly. Lilith. That is Juan K. Newgate. Every other month. Lilith would check Newgate's body on time, and Newgate couldn't refuse every time. For Newgate, checking his body every day is simply too embarrassing. But also helpless. I can only say, one thing down, one thing. No one should be crazy. Chapter 50. Newgate fleeing in embarrassment. Encounter the Luogia pirates. Advertise here. Quote. Locke, I leave everything to you about the Sphinx. The family is in your hands. Lousy left first. Early the next morning, Newgate jumped to his feet. Straight into the Moby Dick. Then, this huge whale ship is heading straight for the distance. What? Locke breathed lazily, looked at the elder brother who was leaving quickly in front of him, the corners of his mouth curled up, others couldn't see it, but can't you see it yourself? Isn't that the look of fleeing in embarrassment? Tut tisk. Locke was speechless, and said casually, really? It's nothing, just such a little skill. Lilith's request, this is very weak. Rubbish. Locke complained disdainfully, stretched his waist, and said comfortably, I got up early today, let's go eat some buns. What? Breathing lazily, Locke turned and walked the other way. To be frank, the construction of the Sphinx is different from that of a normal pirate ship. Because the situation with the Sphinx is different. Ship spirits and others are completely built according to owning ship spirits. Ship elf. This is a heaven-defying creature, regardless of whether there are sails or not, regardless of whether there is wind or not, regardless of the weather. All in all, fairy, maritime. Then I can drive away and show you. So, The construction of the Sphinx is really very different. It is completely built according to a huge sea city. This city is definitely majestic enough. As for everything behind it, that is something that needs to be dealt with later. Just wait until the future to discuss it. A bell. Little Oz. Newgate escaped, but the two little fellows were also targeted by Lilith. Looking at Lilith, the two little guys were also stunned for an instant. They stood in place, looking at Lilith in front of them, not knowing what to say. Lilith said very calmly, "You need to carry out inspections, especially Belle. Although your race says that there will be no problems, you still need to inspect the places that should be inspected. Otherwise, any accidents will happen. Are unacceptable." It is good. Little Ozzy was sitting on Belle's shoulder, and the two of them were also forced to start checking. Nobody knows. An examination. What the hell happened? Anyway, since that day, Belle and little Ozzy called Lilith honestly, opened their mouths and shut their mouths. It was their sister who called, that way. It really makes people feel very headache. I don't know what to say. For this scene, Locke was very calm and happy to hear it. This is a good thing. Is it almost there? Locke was sitting in the villa playing the game, and felt that the experience value was about to reach the critical point, so he put down the handle in his hand and turned on the big screen. Fox Flame. The roar of wolves resounded, and the strange flames devoured a large number of pirates. Geruruman slashed into the crowd, with armament hockey entangled all over its body, and the fast slaughterer took on opponents one by one. That's right. Geruruman recently ran out to replenish experience points. The effect is still very good. Recently, the experience value of Geruruman has improved quite well. It can be said, Geruruman is also about to evolve. Another 5, 6, 7 or 8 days will be enough. After Geruruman has evolved, it's time for Mechanical Greymon to go out and fight monsters. Hurry up and evolve into a battle Tyrannosaur. So, I have an Admiral level combat power at home, so I will feel at ease. Hee. With a chuckle, Locke split the big screen and started playing the game at the same time. Observe a little. Correct. Worth to talk about. If Mechanical Greymon evolves into Battle Greymon, then Locke will also have Admiral level combat power. Only, Locke is weaker than normal Admiral class. This is not a strange thing. Undeniably said, Locke doesn't exercise, he doesn't practice, and he doesn't fight. No combat experience at all. The strength is definitely not enough. But, Locke says, joke. What age is this? Do you rely on your own strength to fight? It's just a joke. What labor and management like most is to use numbers to kill those arrogant guys. Locke is very confident. Battle reminder. What's the situation? While playing the game, Locke suddenly felt a battle reminder coming from his white ring. In addition to basically having all the functions of WeChat, Baiji also has another function. That is the fusion of life cards. You can find each other by positioning. At the same time, it also has the ability to remind the battle, if there is a close battle between the two sides. So, I will also be reminded here, after all. If there is a problem, there is really no time to notify, and I can quickly dispatch personnel for support. As for how you said this thing was made, Locke said, he. Joke. Lousy doesn't know that Lousy is just a god of data, as long as he researches and creates with his own ability. These things are simply too easy to create. Strange. Locke wasn't worried at all, and turned on the big screen at the same time, dividing the screen into 3 pieces. As predicted, Moby Dick didn't go far, and it turned out. I ran into a group of pirates by chance. The fight between my brother and a man with nose hair like a beard was very hot. Those who didn't know thought that these two people were going to hack each other to death. The Luogia pirates. Locke rubbed his chin, also focusing on the battlefield.